On the way back to campus, Wyatt set the photo he'd taken of Cece at the Empire State Building as his phone's wallpaper. After 2 train transfers, he got back to the dorm a little after 8. The second he pushed open the door, his 3 roommates stared at him like he'd grown a second head. "What, you guys see a ghost?" Alex stood up and walked over. "For real? Did your girlfriend actually buy you an iPhone?" "Yep," Wyatt said, pulling it out. "The new iPhone 6. What is she, like 50? "Your girlfriend's 50, Wyatt shot back, pushing him away. He plopped down in his desk chair, kicked his feet up, and smirked. "I know you're jealous, but don't be. This is just the beginning." Alex grinned and leaned in. "Let me see it. Is the new one any good?" Wyatt wasn't stingy. He handed the phone over. Alex held it like it was the Holy Grail. When the screen lit up, he laughed. "You find this wallpaper online? It's pretty nice." "What wallpaper?" "That's my girlfriend. Get the hell out of here. That's a stock photo if I've ever seen one." Wyatt snatched the phone back, giving Alex a sidelong glance. "Don't believe me then. Phone back. I've got stuff to do." He opened up Messenger. The driver of the delivery truck, the guy from Charles's company, had sent him the address for Hunts Point Market in the Bronx. Wyatt copied it into Google Maps. From campus, it was over a 2-hour trip. "Hey, Chris," Wyatt called out. "The bananas on your desk. Did you get those from the little market on the strip?" "Yeah. How much a pound?" "How should I know? That's about 2 pounds. Cost me like $4. The market next to campus is a ripoff." Wyatt nodded and started typing a message. "Mr. Chin, would you mind sending me the wholesale price list for the market?" "I've got a sheet right here," the driver replied instantly. He was a man of his word, and Wyatt had genuinely helped him out of jam. Without asking a single question, he sent a photo of the price sheet. Wyatt found bananas right away. $0.45/pound. Is the profit margin on fruit really that high? He wondered. No, he had to factor in transport and inventory costs. Shipping produce wasn't cheap, and fruit went bad fast. Anything that didn't sell was a pure loss. Still, the potential was there. If he ran it right, this could be a real business. First thing tomorrow, he'd go check out that campus market again and get a handle on all their prices. The night passed without incident. The next morning at 7:30, the 4 of them were stumbling out of bed. It was the first official day of classes. No one wanted to be late on day 1. After a frantic rush of brushing teeth and washing faces, they grabbed breakfast from the dining hall and ate on the way. By the time they reached the classroom, the front seats were almost completely full. "Looks like everyone's fired up for the first day," Wyatt chuckled, automatically heading for the back row. Chris, who was about the same height, followed him. Alex leaned in and whispered, "Dude, there's still seats up front. Why are we sitting back here?" Wyatt grinned. "Better for slacking off." Chris added, "+1. But you can sit up front if you want," Wyatt said. "We don't have to stick together." Alex thought for a second, then slid into the seat next to them. "Whatever. It's not like I'm nearsighted." Sam, of course, had already found a spot for himself near the front. When the bell rang, their advisor, Ms. Sutton, walked in. She was brief and to the point. "Our class schedule is finalized and posted in the group chat. I know you don't have a class first period, but I wanted to gather you all before things get started to elect our class officers." She scanned the room. "You've all been together for a couple of weeks now, so you should have a feel for each other. In the interest of fairness and democracy, we'll hold an election, and the entire class will vote." She smiled. "All right, I won't waste any more time. Anyone who wants to volunteer to run for class president can come up to the front and make a short speech." As soon as she finished, Chris leaned over to Wyatt. "Ethan was in our dorm yesterday." Wyatt was curious. "What for?" He didn't say it outright, but he was obviously campaigning. He wants to be president, so he made the rounds to every dorm yesterday, trying to lock up votes. Wyatt raised an eyebrow. "That's a little desperate." "Yeah, I'm definitely not voting for him," Alex added. Wyatt had to suppress a laugh. Alex probably wasn't the only one who felt that way. Ethan was likely patting himself on the back, thinking he'd been slick, completely oblivious to how badly he just shot himself in the foot. Think about it. A classmate who sucks up to the advisor and then comes to your room practically begging for votes before the election even starts. Who would vote for a guy like that? He was just too young, too transparent. As the 3 of them were whispering, Ethan, seeing no one else was getting up, straightened his shirt and strode confidently to the front of the room. No one in the class was surprised. Ethan's ambition to be president was about as subtle as a foghorn. "My dear classmates, hello. It's an honor to stand here today to run for class president. First, let me reintroduce myself." He launched into a speech that was clearly rehearsed. "I believe I am qualified to be your president for 4 main reasons. First, I have years of experience as a class officer. Second, I am a creative and active thinker. Third, I work well in a team. Fourth, I will always respect the wishes of the student body. He had a full script memorized, hitting all the generic talking points. When he finished, the class gave him a smattering of polite applause. Ms. Sutton smiled. Anyone else want to run for president? Everyone looked around, but no one moved. Ethan's gaze settled on Wyatt. He knew that Wyatt was the only one in the class who posed a real threat. And he was right. Wyatt had been a squad leader during the boot camp, won an award for it, and was on good terms with most of the class. But seeing Wyatt sitting there, not moving a muscle, Ethan felt a wave of relief. No one wants to challenge Ethan? Ms. Sutton prodded. Wyatt, get up there. A guy in front of him, Dylan, suddenly whispered, turning around. During the boot camp, Dylan had fallen while running, and Wyatt had helped him back to the start. He wanted Wyatt to give Ethan a run for his money. A few other students nearby heard Dylan and started giving Wyatt encouraging looks, gesturing for him to go up. Wyatt was torn. He didn't actually want to be president, but with everyone pushing him, he felt like he'd be letting them down if he didn't at least try. While he was hesitating, Ms. Sutton called out from the stage. Wyatt, how about you? Care to say a few words? Ms. Sutton was well aware of Wyatt's performance over the past few weeks. She, too, wanted to see a real contest and find out who the students really preferred. Under the combined pressure from his classmates and his advisor, Wyatt finally stood up and walked to the front. Ethan, with a show of sportsmanship, stepped aside to make room for him. Wyatt stood at the podium and cleared his throat. Seeing more than 40 pairs of eyes on him, he couldn't help but smile. Honestly, I wasn't planning on coming up here. But since Ms. Sutton called on me, I guess I'll say a few words. He paused, a casual confidence radiating from him. Look, I don't have a fancy resume like Ethan. I can't promise you the moon, so I'll just say this one thing. He leaned into the mic. If, and I'm saying if, I end up as your president, then for the next 4 years I've got your backs. You roll with me, and we'll be good. A wave of laughter rolled through the classroom. Even Ms. Sutton had to bite back a smile. Ethan's face went blank. Are you kidding me? He thought. I spent days preparing a serious campaign speech, and it gets beaten by roll with me. Wyatt turned to Ms. Sutton. That's all I got, ma'am. She walked back to the podium, a smile playing on her lips. Anyone else want to run? This time, there were no takers. All right then, she said. Please take a piece of paper, write down either Ethan or Wyatt, fold it, and bring it up to the desk. I'll give you 5 minutes. And I'll remind you, your class president is important. A good one can make this class a much more vibrant community. So please, vote with your gut. Wyatt and Ethan returned to their seats as the class began to write and fold their ballots. Wyatt felt like he already knew the outcome. He glanced over at Ethan, who looked incredibly tense. Grabbing a red pen from Chris, Wyatt scribbled Ethan on a slip of paper, walked up, and placed it on the desk. Once all the votes were in, Ms. Sutton drew 2 names on the blackboard, Wyatt on the left, Ethan on the right. She began unfolding the slips and calling out the votes. 1 vote for Wyatt. She made a tally mark under his name. Wyatt. The first 7 votes were all for Wyatt. Not even Wyatt himself had expected that. Seriously? He thought. Do they trust me that much? The 8th ballot was for Ethan, but it was followed by another long string for Wyatt. By the time she was halfway through the stack, Wyatt had 3 full sets of tally marks under his name. Ethan's first set was only 3/5 complete. Ms. Sutton, perhaps sensing that continuing would be cruel, looked at Ethan. He had been her eager assistant during orientation week, after all. I think we have a clear result, she said gently. Ethan, do you want me to finish counting, or? That's fine, Ethan said, his voice tight with disappointment. All right then, Ms. Sutton announced with a bright smile. Your class president for the 14 finance program is Wyatt. Let's give him a round of applause. The classroom erupted in thunderous applause. Now, for the position of vice president. Is anyone interested in running? Silence. If there are no volunteers, then, Ethan, would you be willing to serve as our class vice president? Thank you, Ms. Sutton, Ethan said, forcing a pained smile. Ms. Sutton glanced at her watch. Wyatt, can you come with me in my office for a moment? You got it. Wyatt followed her to her office for a long one-on-one. Mostly, she talked, and he listened. It was the standard lecture on how to be a good class president, the responsibilities, the expectations. After the pep talk, she gave him 2 tasks. First, show the students how to get library cards, add money to their meal plans, laundry cards, and so on. Second, collect everyone's contact information and create an official class group chat. Wyatt frowned. Didn't Ethan already make a class group chat on Facebook? Ms. Sutton smiled. A new one on Messenger or WhatsApp would feel more official. Besides, you're the president now. Did you notice you're not even an admin in that other group? Didn't notice, Wyatt said, honestly. For what it's worth, I voted for him. Hearing that, her estimation of Wyatt went up another notch. Almost anyone else would have voted for themselves. She never expected him to vote for his rival. Wyatt added, Ethan put a lot of work into this. He's probably pretty bummed out. Maybe you should have a chat with him? She shook her head. He's an adult now. If he needs to be comforted over a loss like this, then there's even less reason for me to talk to him. Wyatt had to admit she had a point. He nodded and headed back to the classroom. The president's back. Everyone quiet down, someone yelled. Easy, easy, Wyatt said, walking to the front. Give us another speech, Prez. Don't start, he said, but he was smiling. He slapped the podium twice, and the room instantly fell silent. All right, Ms. Sutton just gave me 2 jobs, he announced. First, I need to post instructions on how to get your library cards and all that set up. Everyone pull out your phones. I'm creating a new messenger group. I'll post the walkthrough in there. What's the code for the group, Prez? Our squad number from boot camp. I'm in. Second thing, Wyatt continued, putting his phone down. I need to collect everyone's personal info. I'll post a template in the chat later. Fill it out and send it back to me. Got it, the class chorused. That's it. Any questions? Message me directly. But on weekends, unless it's an emergency, leave me alone. I've got dates. A girl in the front row piped up. You have a girlfriend, Mr. President? The Wyatt said shamelessly. If a guy who looks like me didn't have a girlfriend, what hope would there be for the rest of you? The class roared with laughter. Roaring. The bell signaling the end of the 90-minute block rang. As the class started getting noisy again, Wyatt slapped the podium. Hey, the professor is about to get here. Let's try to make a good first impression. Keep it down during class. Just as he finished, a middle-aged man with a shoulder bag appeared in the doorway. Are you our microeconomics professor? Wyatt asked. I am. Wyatt quickly made a stop gesture to class. As the room quieted down, he jogged back to his seat in the last row. The professor glanced at Wyatt, then walked to the front of the room. The 90-minute lecture flew by. Wyatt thought for sure he'd zone out, but he was surprised to find he hadn't lost focus once. It helped that the subject was interesting. If it had been linear algebra or financial mathematics, he would have been asleep on his desk in minutes. The second the professor left, the students started heading for the dining hall in small groups. Wyatt was immediately swept up by Chris and Alex, their arms slung over his shoulders. Huh, you ended up being president after all. Alex cheered. You think I wanted this? Wyatt grumbled. We know. The people have spoken. So Wyatt, Alex said, what's for lunch? Wyatt stopped. What did you call me? Alex looked confused. Wyatt put on a mock serious face. Outside this building, you can call me Wyatt, and I won't say a thing. But while we're still inside, what are you supposed to call me? Alex's eyes widened. Prez. Mr. President. Wyatt grinned and turned to Chris. Hey, this one's not as dumb as he looks. One person remained in the classroom. It was Ethan. After everyone else had left, Ethan closed the door. He walked over to the trash, can where Ms. Sutton had tossed the ballots, tipped it over, and began spreading the small, folded pieces of paper across a desk. He had to know, how many votes did he actually get? As he unfolded the last one, his expression froze. Out of 45 ballots, he had received only 3 votes. Subtracting his own, that meant only 2 other people had voted for him. The realization hit him like a punch to the gut. It meant that among his own 3 roommates, at least one of them hadn't voted for him. He couldn't understand what he had done wrong. He had followed the playbook perfectly. He'd made an effort to be seen on the first day. During boot camp, he'd been unlucky not to get a leadership role, but he hadn't messed up. The day before the election, he'd visited the other male dorms to say hello and build rapport. So why? Why did he only get 3 votes? Ethan replayed the past few weeks in his mind, over and over, but for the life of him, he couldn't figure out where he had lost. In the dining hall, after finishing his meal, Wyatt stood up. Chris, come with me. Where to? I'll tell you on the way. Chris elegantly wiped his mouth with a napkin and followed him out. Wyatt led him straight towards the strip of food trucks and cheap eats just off campus. Remember when I told you I was thinking about starting a business? Wyatt said, I've figured out what I want to do. Chris's interest was piqued. What is it? A fresh market. Wyatt pulled up the photo of the wholesale price list on his phone and handed it to Chris. Check out these wholesale prices. Chris's eyes widened. The profit margin is that high. Yep. First, there's not much competition. Besides the shops off campus, there's only one other market targeting students here. Second, we don't need a huge space. 50, 60 square feet is enough, which keeps costs down. Third, there's no real barrier to entry. It's easy to learn. And most importantly, Wyatt added with a grin, I've got an in. Chris nodded. Sounds pretty solid. So where are you taking me now? 2 things. First, we need to figure out the retail prices for all the different fruits. You're going to pretend to be a customer, and I'll record the prices. Second, We need to see if there are any good storefronts for rent. If we find one, I want to lease it this week. Your execution speed is insane. Wyatt just smiled, not offering an explanation. Whether it was a trend or an opportunity, windows closed in the blink of an eye. His indecisiveness in his past life had cost him dearly. He wasn't going to let another chance slip away. They reached the Strip. The lunch crowd was much smaller than the evening one. Now that classes had started, most students ate at the dining halls. But at night, this place was always buzzing with people buying snacks. They walked into a shop with a sign that read Healthy Harvest Market. It being late summer, the store was filled with seasonal fruit. A mountain of watermelons sat in the center, flanked by displays of peaches, mangoes, lychees, and grapes. Prices were listed on small signs next to many of them. The moment they were inside, Wyatt started discreetly typing prices into his phone. He knew that once his store opened, he'd be in direct competition with this place, and the first battle would inevitably be a price war. Know your enemy. To provide cover, Chris wandered around the store, pretending to shop. To avoid suspicion, he even bought half a watermelon and asked the owner to slice it and put it in a container. While the owner was busy, Wyatt furiously entered more data. After about 10 minutes, Wyatt gave Chris a subtle nod. Chris paid for the watermelon and a container of cantaloupe, and they left the store. Got everything? Chris asked. Yep. There are a few places for rent on this street. Mostly old restaurants, but the spaces are pretty big, so the rent's probably high. But up ahead, there's an old deli that's shut down. The size looks about right. Let's go check the price. They walked over to the shuttered deli. Inside, a middle-aged man of about 45 was lounging in a rocking chair, reading a trashy-looking romance novel. When he saw Wyatt and Chris, he thought they were customers and got up, slipping on his sandals. What can I get for you? Wyatt pointed to the for lease sign taped to the glass door and smiled. We're not here to buy anything, sir. We wanted to talk about taking over the lease. The man's brow furrowed as he sized up the two college students. You want to rent the shop? We're thinking about it. The man, assuming they were just curious tire kickers, said dismissively, the leases on this street are long-term. I've still got 2 years left on my contract. Rent for the 2 years is $24,000. Wyatt laughed. Sir, don't try to pull a fast one just because we're young. I've already done my homework on the commercial rents around here. Then what's your offer? $16,000. Impossible, the man snapped. I'd be losing too much at that price. That's less than what I signed for. Sir, you can't possibly expect to transfer the lease at your original price. Look how many shops on this street are for rent. Business is clearly slow. To be honest, I'm not even sure it's a good investment. If you're not willing to budge, there's no point in talking. Wyatt turned as if to leave, pulling Chris with him. The owner, realizing Wyatt might be serious, quickly changed his tune. Hey, hold on, kids. Don't be in such a rush. We can talk. About what? If you're serious, I can take a small loss. But you can't expect me to lose my shirt. We're college students, Wyatt said. We don't know how to haggle. Just give us your best price. The owner hesitated. $22,000. Wyatt shot back, 17. The man's face soured. I'm already losing money at that price. Fine. Seeing as you're students, I can knock off another 500. Wyatt stood firm. Final offer. 20,000. That's it. It's a nice round number. If you can't do that, we're done here. The owner was conflicted. That price was right on the edge of what he could stomach. If he transferred the lease, he'd lose a little. But if no one took it over, he could lose a lot more. When can you pay? The owner asked. This Friday. I can give you a $500 deposit now, and we'll sign the papers and pay the rest on Friday. The owner gritted his teeth and made a decision. Fine. 20,000 it is. We sign on Friday. Wyatt paid the deposit, and they wrote up a simple agreement. After settling a few more details, they started back toward the dorm. 20,000, Chris said. You have that kind of money? I do. Chris paused, then said directly, Wyatt, this market. I want it. Wyatt wasn't surprised. He threw an arm over Chris's shoulder and grinned. Even with friends, business is business. How about this? We each put in 10,000, and we split the profits 60-40. Chris shoved his arm off, laughing. You'd even rip off your own roommate? We're both putting in 10 grand. Wyatt, 60-40 split. Wyatt ticked off the reasons on his fingers. Do you know how to be a boss? Do you know how to run a fresh market? Are you as popular as I am? Chris cut him off. What does being popular have to do with running a business? Wyatt smiled. A small business like ours? It's all about the personal connections. As Wyatt and Chris were laughing and walking back to campus, they passed the Student Activity Center. Wyatt, a voice stopped them in their tracks. Wyatt turned to see Amber, the girl with the ponytail from their first dorm dinner, jogging toward them. She was still rocking the ponytail, with a cream-colored t-shirt tucked into black denim shorts. Her legs weren't incredibly long, but her proportions were good. She stopped in front of them, tilting her head up to look at Wyatt. "How come you never texted me back?" she asked, a playful accusation in her voice. Wyatt remembered. Amber had messaged him during the boot camp, but he hadn't been in the mood to reply. By the time he thought about it again, too much time had passed, and he couldn't be bothered. "I've been busy. Did you need something? I just wanted to know what school you were at." "Now I know. So, let's do a proper introduction. I'm Amber, from the International Economics and Trade Program." She smiled brightly and extended a small hand. Wyatt shook it briefly, then let go. "Which department are you in?" she asked. "Finance." "All right, got it." Amber turned to leave, then spun back around. "Our school is having a welcome party for the freshmen on Friday night. Are you guys going to check it out?" "We'll see. Might not have time. I'm performing," she said, her eyes sparkling. "Your roommate already promised he'd come watch. Aren't you guys coming with him?" Wyatt chuckled. "You mean Alex?" Amber smiled back. "Is that his name?" "I didn't know. I just know he's your roommate." "Yeah, I'm the one who gave him your contact info. You didn't even ask my permission," she said, her tone teasing. Wyatt threw up his hands in mock surrender. "I had no choice. The guy called me dad, at least 10 times begging for it. If I didn't give it to him, it would have been just plain cruel." Amber didn't seem to mind. "Friday night. Remember," she said, before waving and heading back to her dorm. As she walked away, Chris grinned. "Looks like she's got a crush on you." Wyatt shook his head. "If she's smart, she'll have figured out I already turned her down. She's a cute girl, though." "Can't do it," Wyatt said. "Can't do it." Wyatt's voice was low. "I don't know why, but these days, whenever a girl with a certain agenda gets close to me, I can just feel it. Sounds like you've got a story to tell," Chris said, nudging him. "Spill it." Chloe had ended up at a state university known for its engineering programs. On her first day, she became a campus celebrity. Someone had secretly taken several photos of her and posted them on the school subreddit. And after a jury of thirsty upperclassmen weighed in, she was unofficially crowned the new campus queen. The engineering school was overwhelmingly male. In majors like mechanical engineering, civil engineering, and software engineering, a class might have 10 girls at most, and the general consensus was that the pickings were slim. Chloe's major was a bit better. She was in e-commerce under the computer science department. In 2014, it was still a hot field, and the gender ratio was closer to 1-to-1. After becoming the campus queen, Chloe became the center of attention wherever she went, and she loved it. On the first day of the pre-semester boot camp, a guy from her class confessed his feelings for her. Chloe rejected him on the spot. The reason was simple. The guy wasn't as handsome as Wyatt. Ever since she'd cut ties with Wyatt, an idea had taken root in her mind. She was going to find a boyfriend who was better than Wyatt in every single way, just to prove a point. Chloe Goo, can find someone better than you, and you're going to regret losing me." She had thought, just as Jenna had said, that college would be full of amazing guys. But to her disappointment, after 2 weeks at this university, plenty of guys had approached her, but not a single one met her standards. Like right now, a sophomore was blocking her path. Tried to get her number. Chloe looked up at him, and the first thing she did was compare him to Wyatt. Once again, Wyatt won. So, she just shook her head and politely declined. "Sorry, I'm not looking to date right now." The guy retreated awkwardly amidst the jeers of his friends. Chloe felt a pang of frustration. This university had at least 20,000 students. Was it possible that in a sea of 20,000 people, not a single one was better than Wyatt? Back in her dorm, she opened her phone. Driven by curiosity, she navigated to Wyatt's Facebook profile, but he hadn't posted anything since the SATs. Disappointed, she closed the app. Returning to her messenger, she saw a new message in her old high school group chat from Kevin, their former class president. "Kevin, haha, 3 years as president in high school, and now I'm president again in college. What can I say?" Now that they were in college, a lot of the old classmates were eager to share their new lives. After Kevin broke the silence, others started chiming in. "My dorm is an 8-person room. I'm dying. You think that's bad? I'm in a 6-person room with no AC. Community colleges are usually 6-person rooms, right? Kevin, you guys don't have AC? How did you survive the pre-semester training? Don't ask. I'm thinking about dropping out and retaking the SATs. My roommates play League of Legends all day. Now, I finally see the difference between a state school and a top-tier one. Wyatt got the best score in our class. Where did he end up going? He didn't even have a graduation party. Who the hell knows? Leo, Wyatt and I are in NYC. Kevin, how's he doing in the city? Why isn't he ever in the chat? Leo, he's busy. He was a squad leader at the boot camp. Now he's class president, and he's got a new girlfriend. He doesn't have time to be slumming it in here with us." After Leo's message, the chat went dead silent. 5 minutes later, Wyatt's phone buzzed with a private message from Leo. "Leo, how did you know I was going to say you were class president?" Wyatt. Wyatt. You mean I'm actually president? Leo. Wait. You're for real the president? Wyatt, yeah. Leo. Holy crap. I was just trying to shut Kevin up. He was being so smug. I just wanted to mess with him. Leo. Wait. How the hell did you become president? Leo. Is there literally no one else in your class? Wyatt. You son of a bitch. Next time you decide to flex on my behalf, could you at least give me a heads up? You use up all my good material. What am I supposed to brag about now? Leo, I don't know, man. I feel like since we got to college, the gap between you and me is getting wider. Wyatt, you're only just now feeling that. Leo, get on league. Let me destroy you with Yasuo using only one hand. Leo, hurry up. It's urgent. He's class president. How could Wyatt possibly be class president? Chloe stared at the chat history, completely stunned. In high school, Wyatt had always been quiet, dutiful, almost painfully earnest. University class presidents were supposed to be popular, charismatic people with high emotional intelligence. She just couldn't wrap her head around it. She figured Leo must have been exaggerating, but a seed of doubt had been planted. She sent a message to Jenna. Chloe, Jenna, do you think what Leo said is true? That Wyatt is class president at his university? Jenna, probably not. Wyatt's so rigid. There's no way he could be president. Chloe, that's what I think too. Jenna, how are things at your school? Chloe, it's okay. Chloe, just a lot of annoying guys. Jenna, annoying guys? Chloe, they all want to ask me out. I keep turning them down, but they won't stop messaging me. Chloe, and people keep posting my picture on the school subreddit without asking. Jenna, why are they posting your picture? Chloe, they say I'm a campus queen. Jenna, really? Jenna, you must have so many guys chasing you. Chloe, I don't like any of them. Jenna asked cautiously. None of them are as good as Wyatt. Chloe, nope. Jenna, don't worry. I'm sure there's still great guys out there. Don't rush. It's only the beginning. They chatted back and forth for a while until Chloe started to find Jenna's endless stream of supportive messages grating. Eventually, she just stopped replying. In high school, Chloe had been friends with Jenna largely because Jenna's plainness made her own beauty and gentleness stand out. But now, Jenna was no longer useful to her. Chloe decided it was time to find a new circle of friends, one more suited to her status as campus queen. In the afternoon, Wyatt had one long lecture, Foundations of Statistics. After class, he and his 3 roommates headed back to the dorm. Sam immediately went back to studying, pre-reading his linear algebra textbook. Alex fired up League of Legends. Alex, Wyatt said, seeing him, put on your headphones when you play. Alex glanced over at Sam, who was deep in his books, and obediently put them on. Wyatt sat down at Chris's laptop and created a spreadsheet. After collecting everyone's information from the new group chat, he copied and pasted it all into the file. Chris watched him work, impressed by his efficiency. Damn, you're pretty good with Excel. Easy peasy, Wyatt replied with a Cantonese accent he'd picked up from a movie. He double-checked the spreadsheet, then sent it to Ms. Sutton. She replied with an OK emoji and added, "This Friday is the freshman welcome party at the Student Activity Center. You can let the class know. Anyone who wants to go is welcome." Wyatt typed, "Will do," then deleted it and changed it to "got it." Chris, who had been looking over his shoulder, asked, "Will do sounds more professional, doesn't it? When the advisor sends messages in the group chat, we all reply with that." "The slaves in the Han Dynasty," said Wyatt explained. "The slaves in the Qing Dynasty," said "You know what the modern-day equivalent is." "Will do." Bingo. After finishing his presidential duties, Wyatt went back to his desk and placed a video call to the truck driver, the guy from yesterday afternoon. He answered almost immediately. "Hello, Mr. Chun. Hey, kid. What's up?" Wyatt got straight to the point. "My friend and I are planning to open a fresh market near campus. If things go smoothly, we'll have a soft opening this weekend. Since you're already in the business of delivering produce, I was wondering if we could hire you to make our deliveries. I'll pay you the standard market rate for shipping. What do you think?" The driver sounded surprised. "You're starting a business in college?" "That's right. I've got no problem with that. It's what I do for a living. Tell you what, send me your address. I'll see how far it is." "Great. I'm heading over to Hunts Point on Saturday. I assume you'll be there. I'm there every day pulling loads. Then how about we meet up then and talk in more detail?" "No problem." "All right, talk to you then. Bye." Wyatt hung up and stuffed his phone in his pocket. "Chris, let's go," he called out. "Where to?" "The Strip." "What now?" "Gotta go pull some strings to get our business license." As they left the dorm, Chris looked confused. "Can't we just apply for the license ourselves?" "Of course we can," Wyatt said. "But if we do it ourselves, it could take 10 days, maybe half a month. If we find the right person, we can have it in 3 to 5 days." "How do you know all this?" "I hear things." Wyatt and Chris got back to the dorm just before dark. Alex was still on his computer, headphones on, but now he was watching Parks and Recreation. Sam was still reading. The first thing Wyatt did was take a shower. Then he pulled a face mask from his drawer, a gift from Cece, tore it open, and applied it to his face. He checked himself out in the mirror, snapped a selfie, and sent it to her. Wyatt, selfie. JPG Wyatt. Handsome, right? Cece, who had been staring blankly at the ceiling in her own dorm, heard her phone buzz. Seeing the message from Wyatt, the corners of her mouth turned up involuntarily. Cece, so ugly. Cece, remember to leave it on for at least half an hour. That mask is expensive. Don't waste it. When Cece said something was cheap, it might not be. But when she said it was expensive, it was definitely expensive. Wyatt, I'll just wear to bed then. Wyatt, how many classes did you have today? Cece, 3. History of Western music this morning, then sight singing and folk orchestra this afternoon. Wyatt, I only had 2. Tomorrow's packed, though. Got an 8 a.m. class. As Wyatt was texting with Cece, Alex, finished with his show, wandered over. Wyatt, where'd you get the face mask? Girlfriend gave it to me. The more you talk about this girlfriend, the more curious I get. When are you going to bring her to visit? She has a terrible sense of direction, and her school is pretty far. I'm afraid she'd get lost. So it's not happening anytime soon. TSK, TSK. The sickening stench of love. Oh, by the way, Alex said, have you been talking to that girl, Amber? Yeah. Chris and I ran into her on campus this afternoon. I might have let it slip that she not only knows you're my roommate, but also knows your name. So she knows. Whatever. Hey, are you guys going to the welcome party on Friday? Chris and I have stuff to do, so we're skipping it. Why not? I heard the campus queen, Jessica Evans, is going to perform. Who gives a crap? Wyatt hit the home button and held up his phone, showing Alex his wallpaper. Is she as pretty as my girlfriend? Alex snorted, his face a mask of disbelief. If that's your girlfriend, I'll call you Dad every day from now on. While a college student's main job was to study, forcing someone with the mental age of a 30-year-old to sit attentively in a classroom all day was a special kind of torture. Wyatt could just about manage to stay awake through theoretical courses like microeconomics, macroeconomics, and financial markets. But for classes that required actual brain power, like mathematical analysis, linear algebra, and applied statistics, he was completely lost. In those, he simply gave up and slept on his desk. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday flew by. On Friday, they only had 2 long lectures, both in the morning. So, as soon as class let out at noon, Wyatt and Chris headed for the strip. Today was the day they were signing the contract. The former deli owner was waiting for them. Over the past few days, he had moved most of his equipment out of the shop. Seeing them arrive on time, he pulled out the contract he'd prepared. Here's the transfer agreement. I added the extra clauses you mentioned. Wyatt didn't sign right away. He took the contract and read through it carefully, making sure there were no hidden traps in the language. Only then did he pick up a pen and sign his name. The money, the owner asked. I'll transfer it to you now. Send me your account number. Wyatt took out his phone and opened his banking app. He had already transferred $10,000 from his investment account. It pained him to part with it, but thankfully Chris was covering the other 10. When the owner saw the confirmation text for the deposit, a stone lifted from his heart. He stood up and shook Wyatt's hand. Pleasure doing business with you. I wish you the best of luck. Thanks, Wyatt said. Can you have the rest of your things out this afternoon? The big stuff is already gone, the owner said with a smile. I can get the rest of this out in one trip with my van. Oh, here are the keys. You can change the locks if you want. Sound good? The owner seemed eager to leave. As soon as the money was transferred and the keys were handed over, he hastily loaded the remaining items into his minivan and drove off. Chris looked around the 55-square-foot shop. It's ours now, he said with a sigh of satisfaction. Tomorrow morning, we're going to the wholesale market. Call the sign shop and see when they can have our sign ready. Should be ready by tomorrow, Chris said with a grin. You still haven't told me why we're calling our market Cece's Fresh Market. My girlfriend's name is Cece. Chris gave him a thumbs up. Classy. They did a quick clean of the shop. For a fresh market, they'd need refrigerators and coolers. After grabbing a quick bite, Wyatt and Chris took the subway to a commercial resale district. The place had everything. When businesses went under, all their furniture and equipment ended up here. Wyatt had been worried they wouldn't find suitable coolers, but there were at least 5 or 6 different sets available, plus dedicated cash register systems. In the end, Wyatt spent $1,000 on a set of coolers, display shelves, and a register. The owner even threw in a humidifier. Everything would be delivered to the shop tomorrow afternoon. When they got back to the dorm that evening, Sam was on the balcony, talking to his family on the phone in his thick Appalachian accent that no one else could understand. Inside, Alex was staring at his computer screen, giggling like an idiot. Wyatt and Chris exchanged a look and walked over to him. Alex was chatting with Amber. He was so engrossed in their conversation that he didn't even notice them standing beside him. Amber, don't forget the welcome party tonight. Alex, I'll definitely be there. Amber, you should come early or you won't get a seat. Alex, I'm heading out right now. Amber, aren't your roommates coming with you? Alex, they're not back yet. Chris suddenly cleared his throat. Alex jumped, startled. He turned and saw Wyatt and Chris, then rolled his eyes. What did you guys get back? TSK. I thought you were in some deep, flirty conversation, Wyatt teased. You're this happy over a few lines of text? You're pathetic. Alex covered his laptop screen with his hand. Don't look, you asshole. Wyatt snorted, grabbed his clothes off the drying rack, and headed for the shower. Hey, hurry up, Alex called after him. We're all going to the welcome party together. I never said I was going, Wyatt replied from the bathroom, his voice muffled as he took off his shirt. What the hell? Already promised Amber. Hey, you talked to her. Why are you dragging me into this? Bro, I'm begging you. I'll buy you lunch tomorrow. Alex, listen to me, Wyatt said seriously. A girl like Amber. You can't handle her. Bullshit. I think she's already into me. Chris had a laugh. Have you two ever even met up in person? Not yet. Then how do you know she's into you? It's a feeling. A man's sixth sense. Chris clapped Alex on the shoulder. Listen to Wyatt. He's just looking out for you. Alex yelled toward the bathroom. Wyatt, if you don't come with me to the welcome party tonight, I'm climbing into your bed and sleeping there. Get lost. Alex's threat worked. As soon as Wyatt was out of the shower, Alex was practically dragging him out the door toward the Student Activity Center. Chris followed along. Before closing the door, he looked back at Sam, who was sitting alone at his desk. Sam, you not coming with us? Sam shook his head gently. I think I'll pass. Chris nodded, said no more, and ran down the stairs to catch up with Wyatt and Alex. The welcome party started at 7 and was scheduled to end at 8:30. Someone had spread a rumor that the campus queen, Jessica Evans, would be performing a dance number, so by the time Wyatt's group arrived, the venue was already packed with drooling fanboys. Why are there so many people? Looks like there are no seats. Alex pulled out his phone. I'll tell Amber we're here. His fingers flew across the screen. After a few messages, his face lit up. She said she's coming to find us. Just as he said it, Chris saw Amber emerge from a side door by the stage. She shielded her eyes, scanned the crowd, and spotted the three of them. She quickly made her way over. You guys came. Standing in front of them now, Amber no longer had to crane her neck to look up at Wyatt. She was wearing high heels, which, combined with a tight white blouse, a short black skirt, and two cute pigtails, drew a lot of attention as she approached. It was Wyatt's fault, Alex said, throwing him under the bus. He insisted on taking a shower before we left. Otherwise, we wouldn't have been so late. You son of a bitch, Wyatt shot back. You're the one who dragged me here. I never even said I wanted to come. Hearing the curse word, Amber didn't seem to think it was crude. A goody two-shoes boy was no fun. A little bit of a bad boy was much more appealing. I can take you guys backstage, Amber offered, putting an end to their bickering. Backstage. She pointed to the temporary stage. There are spots on the sides of the stage where you can stand and watch. The whole party is organized by the arts department of the student union, and the director is a senior from my high school. Just come with me. The three guys exchanged glances, then followed Amber backstage. The backstage was just a large, hastily erected tent. It was crowded with students, most of whom were performing that night. Alex mustered up the courage to ask, Amber, what are you performing tonight? A dance, she said with a smile. There are only 2 dance numbers tonight. One is by us freshmen, and the other is by Jessica Evans and the upperclassmen. Just then, another girl in the same outfit stood up and waved. Amber. Amber walked over. What's up? Rachel is still struggling with a couple of the moves. Should we run through it one more time? Yeah, good idea, Amber said. Let me go tell my friends. She walked back over to Wyatt. You guys can just hang out here and look around. I need to go rehearse. If anyone asks why you're backstage, just say I brought you. All right. With a cute smile, Amber went to join her teammates. Alex watched her go, his heart melting. Man, she's so damn cute. Wyatt just chuckled and started walking toward the tent flap. As he lifted it, a striking figure appeared, and they made eye contact. Wyatt paused for a second, then held the flap open to let the girl enter. After she passed, he stepped outside. A moment later, Alex burst out of the tent. Holy crap, was that her? The campus queen, Jessica Evans? Could you be any less excited? Wyatt said calmly. Don't make me feel embarrassed every time I go out with you, okay? Come on, tell me. Alex pressed. Is she even prettier in person than in her photos? Chris shrugged. She's all right. Wyatt, what do you think? Wyatt's tone was dismissive. She's nothing special. The three of them didn't know that Jessica, after entering the tent, hadn't joined a rehearsal. She was standing right by the entrance, texting her dance team. The tent was noisy, but they were close enough that she'd heard every word they said. As the campus queen of the prestigious finance program, Jessica's looks were undeniable. She had heard endless praise for her beauty, but today was the first time anyone had ever described her as nothing special. Alex, seeing Wyatt's nonchalance, scoffed. Huh, you're just talking big in front of me. I bet you wouldn't have the guts to say that to her face. Wyatt shot him a look like he was an idiot. Just as he was about to reply, a student in a suit dragged another student, who was clutching a guitar, out of the tent. The performance list has already been submitted, and now you're telling me you can't go on stage? Kyle, are you messing with me? Sir, maybe you should just find someone else, the student Kyle pleaded. There are so many people, I'm afraid. I can't find someone else. I've already written the host script. You're an adult now. Can't you be a little braver? You're really going to back out, just because there's a crowd? No more excuses. You have to go on tonight. Your performance is one of the last ones, so you have time to pull yourself together. With that, the older student went back inside the tent. It was clear he was one of the event's hosts, and the student left outside was a performer. After the host left, Kyle just stared at the audience below, and Wyatt could see his legs trembling. It was fear, pure and simple. The kind of stage fright that paralyzed people, sometimes even making them physically sick. But it wasn't his problem. Wyatt, can you sing? Alex asked. Yeah, for real. Are you kidding? I'm the king of love songs. You're so full of it. Not only can I sing, Wyatt said proudly, I can play the guitar. I'll show you sometime. If you can play the guitar, I'll eat this one right here. Chris, Wyatt said, how many times has this idiot made a bet he can't win? I've lost count. At 7 o'clock sharp, the welcome party officially began. 2 male and 2 female hosts walked onto the stage, delivered some cliched opening remarks, and kicked things off. Most of the acts were singers, solos, duets, and even a few bands. To Wyatt's surprise, there was also a comedy sketch. After the sketch, the first dance number finally came on. When Amber and her group of freshman girls appeared on stage in their breezy short skirts, the crowd of fanboys erupted as if they'd been shot full of adrenaline. Whoa, Alex, you idiot. Why are you grabbing my hand? I'm in love. Moron, get off me. After their energetic dance, the 5 girls on stage struck a cute final pose. Alex saw Amber's gaze drift toward their spot on the side of the stage, and he got even more excited. She's looking at me. She's looking at me. Wyatt watched Amber, thinking to himself, you idiot. She's not looking at you. She's throwing bedroom eyes at me. After the dance, there were several more singers. Amber quickly found them. How was I? She asked sweetly. Chris, not bad. Alex, you were amazing. Wyatt, honestly, I was too busy critiquing the costumes. Wyatt, you're such a pig. Amber giggled. He is, Alex declared. He's a total pig. Watching the expression on Amber's face, Chris felt like she had left a sentence unsaid. The second half should have been, but I love it. Wyatt had been planning to head back to the dorm, since he had a busy day tomorrow, but he glanced at the time. There was less than half an hour left. He figured he might as well stay and watch the rest with Alex. One singing act followed another. At 8:10, the moment the fanboys had been waiting for arrived. The campus queen, Jessica Evans, finally took the stage. There were 6 of them, all around 5'5", all gorgeous and all wearing matching crop tops, pleated skirts, and high boots. The second they appeared, the audience went wild. Screams and cheers echoed through the venue. Even Wyatt was a little taken aback. What are they so worked up about? He thought. A bunch of kids who've never seen the world. Watching Jessica's provocative dance, even Amber couldn't help but sigh. Jessica's stage presence is so powerful. You were great too, Alex encouraged. Beauty was in the eye of the beholder. For Alex, Jessica was an untouchable goddess, far removed from his reality. So in his eyes, Amber's cute and energetic performance was just as impressive. One was cute and lively, the other was cool and commanding. Each had its own charm. Wyatt and Chris stayed out of their conversation. Halfway through the performance, Chris nudged Wyatt's arm. No comment, he whispered with a smirk. What's there to comment on? Come on, for real. She's stacked, Chris said, making a cupping gesture with his hands. Wyatt sighed, speaking with the authority of a seasoned connoisseur. Minimal muscle definition in the upper arms and abdomen, yet her chest has the semi-spherical shape that only a muscular base can support. The upper curve is full and prominent, but the jiggle on the downbeat is less than half of what you'd see with natural fat. Obviously, she's using padding. Chris gave him an immediate thumbs up. A true professional. I'm not worthy. Stay calm. After the dance, much of the audience's energy dissipated. But since there were only 1 or 2 acts left, most people stayed, figuring they might as well see it through to the end. The male host went to the side of the stage and tapped Kyle on the shoulder. Kyle, you're up next. As soon as I get off stage, you go on. He didn't wait for a reply before hurrying back to the microphone. Kyle stood at the bottom of the steps, staring at the restless crowd, completely terrified. His whole body was shaking, and his forehead was beaded with sweat. And now, please enjoy a guitar performance from Kyle from the 14 Applied Statistics program. Let's give him a big round of applause. After the host stepped down, Kyle remained frozen at the steps, unable to move. Kyle, get up there. Kyle, what are you waiting for? The prolonged silence on stage caused the audience to start murmuring among themselves, which only made Kyle more nervous. Chris saw Kyle trembling and put a hand on Wyatt's shoulder. Wyatt, maybe you should help him out and go up there for him. Didn't you say you could play guitar? No way. If I sing, I'm afraid I'll be the biggest star in the finance department by tomorrow. Alex was about to make a sarcastic remark when Chris grinned. That's a good thing. If you become a star, we won't have to worry about customers for our market, right? Wyatt's head snapped toward Chris. You're right. Why didn't I think of that? Chris had only been half joking, but seeing Wyatt actually consider it, he pressed on. So, what are you waiting for? Get up there. Fine. For the money. I'll do it. Wyatt walked over to Kyle, cutting off the host who was still trying to coax him. Hey, Wyatt said with a smile. If you don't want to go on stage, let me borrow your guitar. Kyle stared at Wyatt, stunned for a few seconds, then immediately took the guitar off his shoulder and handed it over. Wyatt took it and walked directly onto the stage. Wait, we have to follow the program. The host yelled, but it was too late. Wyatt was already at the center of the stage. He placed the microphone in its stand and sat down on the high stool. Clearing his throat, he spoke with an air of theatrical gravity. Quick correction. The student who was supposed to perform, Kyle, isn't feeling well. I'm Wyatt from the finance program. I'm going to play and sing a song for you. John Myers slowed dancing in a burning room. The head of the student union's arts department, Trevor, rushed to the side of the stage. Who is he? He demanded, incredulous. That's not Kyle. Why is it some guy named Wyatt? The host started explaining, sweating profusely. What do you mean? He wanted to go up, so you just let him. We have a schedule for a reason. What were you thinking? Trevor fumed. Amber, hearing the commotion, hurried over. Trevor, it's not a big deal, right? Wyatt is a freshman, too. Amber, you don't understand. What if he... Before Trevor could finish, the sound of a guitar filled the air. The intro was long and slow, the melody haunting. As Wyatt played, a strange quiet fell over the previously rowdy crowd. Wyatt sat on the stool, his entire focus on the guitar in his hands. Everything else around him was just background noise. This was the song he had practiced the most in his previous life. He would never forget it. No way, he can actually play. Hearing the beautiful prelude, Alex's eyes went wide. He stared at Wyatt on stage, completely dumbfounded. Chris was equally astonished. Amber immediately put a finger to her lips, shushing them. Under the spell of the melody, the entire venue became silent. Every pair of eyes was fixed on the lone figure at the center of the stage. Finally, he began to sing. It's not a silly little moment. It's not the storm before the calm. This is the deep and dying breath of this love that we've been working on. His voice was deep, rich with an emotion that seemed far beyond his years. Just that first verse was enough to make people in the audience instinctively pull out their phones to record. On the other side of the stage, the girls who had danced with Jessica were whispering among themselves. Who is this guy? What's his major? He sings so well. And he's pretty cute too. Jessica, what do you think? Jessica was silent, her eyes fixed on the stage, her exquisite face unreadable. We're going down, and you can see it too. We're going down, and you know that we're doomed. My dear, we're slow dancing in a burning room. Wyatt sang the song to its quiet, heartbreaking end. Then he stood up, and, under the gaze of hundreds, bowed deeply. Only after he had walked off the stage did the audience erupt in cheers and applause. The applause wasn't as loud as it had been for Amber or Jessica, because many people were still lost in the moment, processing what they had just heard. But as soon as he was gone, the venue exploded with chatter. Most of the girls were asking the same questions. His name is Wyatt, right? He's in finance. Does he have a girlfriend? Wyatt returned the guitar to a still-shocked Kyle. Seeing his two roommates standing there with their mouths hanging open, he chuckled. Don't just stand there gawking. Let's go home. And just like that, he left. Amber watched the three of them walk away, a starstruck smile spreading across her face. With that one song, Wyatt had just secured himself something that countless other guys in the university would envy for the next 4 years. The pick of the litter. Jessica? Jessica, what are you thinking about? Nothing. Hee, you don't have a crush on the little freshman, do you? No, Jessica said, shaking her head with a small smile. I was just thinking, that freshman, he's got something. That night, The school's subreddit, forums, and various class group chats were all blowing up about a handsome guy named Wyatt. He only found out he'd gone viral when he saw his own classmates talking about him in their group chat. Alex, holding his phone up like a reporter, tiptoed over to Wyatt, who was already lying in his bunk. "Mr. Wyatt, sir. A quick interview, if you please. How does it feel to be an overnight celebrity?" "It doesn't. My phone keeps buzzing with friend requests. It's annoying. What are you filming? You post that, and you're dead. You son of a bitch, complaining about being popular," Alex grumbled. "Chris, don't you just want to punch him sometimes?" Chris, already in his own bed, looked down and laughed. "I think you're the one who needs punching. Can you please stop walking around the dorm in your bright red boxers?" As Wyatt was wondering how to deal with the flood of social media requests, a message from Cece came in. "Cece, dork, how come you didn't text me today?" "Wyatt, just got back for the welcome party." "Cece, was it good?" "Wyatt, not as good as you." "Cece, this week went by so fast." "Wyatt, yeah, it did." Seeing that reply, Cece unconsciously pouted, silently cursing him. "Doesn't this dork understand what I mean? Is he not planning on coming to see me this weekend?" She wasn't happy. "Wyatt, do you have any plans for tomorrow?" Cece replied instantly, "No." "Wyatt, I have some stuff to take care of this weekend, so I probably can't make it to your school." Cece paused. It took her a long time to reply. "Cece, what are you doing?" "Wyatt, making money." "Cece, are you short on money?" "Wyatt, nope, but I want to make more." "Cece, why?" "Wyatt, our future is expensive. I'm afraid your mom will have high standards, and I won't be able to afford you." Lying in her bed, Cece's face turned bright red. She furiously typed back, "You're talking nonsense again." "Wyatt, my roommate and I are opening a fresh market together. The shop is already leased. Tomorrow we're going to the wholesale market, and the day after we're planning a soft opening. Once I get everything settled next week, I'll come find you." "Wyatt, do you want to see me?" Cece's face was still burning. She typed, "I'm going to sleep now, good night." "Wyatt, you didn't answer my question." "Cece, I'm already asleep." Wyatt laughed out loud at that. Seeing she wasn't replying anymore, he turned his attention back to the friend requests. Thinking that explaining to each person would be a hassle, he came up with a simpler solution. He changed his social media bio. It now read, "Taken." With that, the flood of new friend requests finally slowed to a trickle. Meanwhile, back in Riverwood at Maple Creek Estates, Miranda was sitting on the sofa, a glass of red wine in one hand, her phone in the other. She was about to check Wyatt's social media feed, but when she opened his profile, her finger froze. Why'd he change his bio? Taken, what does that mean? Have he and Cece made it official? Miranda couldn't guess, and she didn't know who to ask. In the end, she sent a message directly to Wyatt. "Miranda, Wyatt, why did you change your bio?" Wyatt was surprised that Miranda was the first person to ask. He took a screenshot of his pending friend requests and sent it to her. "Wyatt, Annie, it's because too many people were trying to add me." He didn't explain further. He figured the picture would speak for itself. Miranda opened the image and saw that all the requests were from girls. She felt a flicker of concern. Is Wyatt that popular in college? A sense of urgency crept in. She quickly typed, "Wyatt, are you going to see Cece this weekend?" "Wyatt, I'm busy this weekend. I have to go somewhere else. I've already told Cece." Miranda, "Okay." "Wyatt, it's getting late. I'm going to bed. Good night, Annie." Miranda, "Good night." Early Saturday morning, Wyatt dragged a sleeping Chris out of bed. They left campus and, after a series of subway and bus transfers that took over 2 hours, finally arrived at Hunts Point Market in the Bronx. "This place is huge," Chris said, looking around. "Let's walk around first. I'll call Mr. Chun and see when he's getting here." As they wandered through the market, Wyatt called the truck driver. The market was a sprawling complex where entire truckloads of produce arrived from all over the country. The variety was astounding. There were at least 10 different kinds of grapes alone. Wyatt asked for prices at a few stalls. They were all significantly cheaper than what the campus market charged. The profit margin on most fruits was between 30–50%. As long as they could sell it well and sell it fast, their market was guaranteed to be profitable. After making a full circuit of the market, they waited for another half an hour before Mr. Chun finally arrived. Wyatt got straight to the point. "Mr. Chun, I've had a look around. I'll write up an order for you tonight. Can you deliver our first truckload tomorrow around noon?" "You guys are really opening a market?" the driver asked, curious. "Yeah. What about your studies?" Wyatt smiled. "There's a lot of free time in college. Besides, the whole point of studying is to make money, right?" "Well, if you've made up your minds, then of course I'm in," Mr. Chun said. "It's what I do. Tell you what, I'm good friends with a few of the stall owners here. Let me introduce you. You can add them on Messenger, and in the future, you can just place your orders directly with them. Don't worry about the prices. The guys I know are honest. Thank you so much, Mr. Chun. Haha, you helped me out of a big jam. I'll help you out of one. We're just helping each other. Things went even more smoothly than Wyatt had imagined. With Mr. Chin's introductions, Wyatt added several stall owners to his contacts. This meant he could order directly from campus in the future and have Mr. Chun deliver, saving them countless trips to the Bronx. Wyatt and Chris rushed back to their new shop by noon. The sign installers were coming in the afternoon, the coolers were being delivered, and the guy with their business license was supposed to drop it off. It was a packed afternoon. Wyatt and Chris were busy in the shop until the sun went down. Alex, knowing they had leased the shop, wandered over in the evening. Seeing the new sign was already up and the coolers were in place, he asked with a slimy grin, "Anything I can help with?" Wyatt, too tired to muster much energy, muttered, "Look what the cat dragged in, just in time to miss all the work." Alex stood there for a moment before he figured out Wyatt was insulting him. Seeing how sweaty and exhausted they both were, he had the decency to look a little sheepish. "I didn't know you guys were back this afternoon. Otherwise, I would have come by to help sooner." Wyatt was too tired to reply. Chris was equally drained. Alex put on a fawning smile. "Come on, let's go. Dinner's on me tonight." I got a reaction. "Chris, help me up," Wyatt said immediately. "Tonight, we're going to Metro Center Plaza to bleed this guy dry." I said I'd pay, but I didn't say we were going for fine dining. "Can't we just hit a food truck and grab a few things?" Wyatt and Chris replied in unison. "Get lost." After working all afternoon, Wyatt didn't have much of an appetite. They rested for a while, wiped down every surface in the new shop, then Wyatt pulled down the rolling shutter, and they left. On the way back, Chris asked, "It still looked a bit plain. Should we put up some wallpaper? Maybe replace the rolling shutter?" "No need," Wyatt said. "For a small business like this, you don't want the storefront to look too fancy." Chris was confused. "Why not? Let's say we want to get barbecue tonight. There are two places next to each other. One is lavishly decorated with a glowing neon sign. The other is a simple, no-frills joint. Which one would you choose?" Chris answered, "Wouldn't you choose the nicer-looking one?" Wyatt rolled his eyes. "I forgot you're rich." "Alex, if it were you, which one would you pick?" "Definitely the second one," Alex said immediately. "Based on my years of experience, any of those super fancy-looking street food places are, without exception, overpriced and taste like crap." Chris still didn't quite get it. Wyatt explained patiently, "Our customers are mostly going to be students." "Are most students loaded with cash?" "Definitely not. Most of them are like me and Alex. If I see a super fancy fruit market, the first thing that comes to my mind is, the owner must have spent a fortune on renovations, so the stuff inside must be really expensive." The light bulb finally went on for Chris. "When you're a boss, you have to learn to think from the customer's perspective," Wyatt said with a grin. "Just stick with me, you'll learn." Chris just smiled non-committally. Wyatt walked over to a nearby food truck, ordered a falafel wrap for himself, then a smoothie from the next vendor over. He waved at the two owners and pointed at Alex. "He's paying." Alex, true to his word, dutifully stepped up and paid. The three of them returned to the dorm. Covered in sweat, Wyatt went to take a cold shower first. When he came out, he walked over to Sam's desk with a serious expression. "Sam, I want to talk to you about something." Sam closed his book and turned around, surprised. "With me?" "Yeah." Wyatt dried his hair with a towel. "Chris and I are opening a fresh market. It's pretty much all set up. Once the fruit arrives tomorrow, we can have a soft opening. I'm going to be busy, and even in my free time, I can't always be at the shop. So, I'm looking to hire 2 part-time employees. Are you interested?" Before Sam could speak, Wyatt quickly added, "The pay isn't great, though. Maybe $500 a month. The work isn't hard. Mostly just weighing fruit, handling the cash, and keeping track of sales." Sam wasn't a fool. Even though Wyatt downplayed the salary, $500 a month was more than enough to cover his living expenses. He had planned on finding a work-study job since before he even arrived at college, but hadn't found anything suitable. He knew Wyatt was deliberately offering this opportunity to him. Sam nodded firmly. "I can do it. As long as I don't have class, I can be there to watch the shop." "Then it's settled," Wyatt said with a smile. The words were barely out of his mouth when Alex sidled up. "Wyatt, I can work part-time too. Get out of here." "What the hell, why not? I'm only hiring 2 people, and I need the other person to have a schedule that complements Sam's, so we can keep the shop open for longer." "All right." Wyatt clapped Alex on the shoulder. "You can come work in the shop for free. In my spare time, I can teach you how to pick up girls." "Huh, like I need you to teach me," Alex said, his voice dripping with jealousy. "Give me your face, and I'll go conquer Jessica Evans tomorrow." Leo was miserable. College was nothing like he had imagined. Of his 5 roommates, 2 were friends from high school and had their own clique, One was possibly gay, one snored and ground his teeth, and the last one was perpetually in an online relationship. He even suspected that last roommate was a Japanese spy because the guy would often sneak into the bathroom late at night, and Leo could hear the voices of Japanese women coming from inside. It was torture. The only bright spot was that the old dorms were being renovated. They said that next semester, for a small extra fee, they could move into 4-person rooms with air conditioning. Leo could only pray that his new roommates would be 3 normal human beings. Lying in bed, he sent a message to Wyatt. Leo, Wyatt, can I come to your school tomorrow? Wyatt replied quickly. I'm really busy tomorrow. Leo, what could you possibly be busy with on a weekend? Wyatt, I started a business. Starting tomorrow, I'm a boss. Leo, what the hell? You just got to college and you're already a boss. Leo, can you please stop making stuff up? Leo, at this point, I'm starting to think you're not even really the class president. Wyatt, fine, come over tomorrow. Call me when you get here. I'll come get you. Tomorrow was the first day of the soft opening. It would probably be hectic. If Leo came, he could be free labor. With that thought, Wyatt ended the chat. Then, it was time for the best part of his day. He opened his chat with Cece. He wanted to type you there, but decided it was too lame. Instead, he wrote, Did you miss me today? The message popped up on Cece's phone. She picked it up, muttered jerk under her breath, but couldn't hide the smile spreading across her face. She rolled over in her bunk and typed back. Cece, no. Wyatt, I don't believe you. Cece, then don't. Wyatt, what did you do all day? Cece, nothing. Wyatt, I did a lot today. He proceeded to tell her about everything he'd done, one thing after another, and finally sent her a few pictures of the new market. Cece immediately seized on the main detail. Her face blushing, she asked, Why is the market called that? Wyatt replied, smooth and clean, Because this way, I can be with you every day. Sunday morning came way too early. Wyatt dragged his 3 roommates out of bed, and after a quick breakfast, the 4 of them headed to the mail center. Wyatt had gone on an Amazon spree. Disposable plastic bags, cling wrap, custom decals for the store, a set of fruit knives and cutting boards, a digital scale, 2 security cameras, and, most importantly, laminated printouts of his Venmo and Cash App QR codes. They hauled the mountain of supplies to the shop, and Wyatt immediately went into commander mode. All right, Chris and I will install the cameras. You two, start putting up the decals. Sam, I'll show you how to work the register in a bit. Got it. They all chimed in, getting to work. Just before 11, a small box truck rumbled down the food truck strip and pulled up in front of Cece's Fresh Market. Wyatt recognized the familiar vehicle instantly and waved his arms. He's here. Let's go, guys. Time to unload. With his 3 roommates and Cece's dad, Charles, pitching in, they had the fruit moved into the store in no time. Charles looked around the nearly finished shop, a smile of approval spreading across his face. Wow, you kids really made this place look legit. Thanks, Charles. How much do I owe you for the delivery? I'll Venmo you. At first, Charles waved him off, saying the first one was on the house, but Wyatt insisted. Finally, Charles quoted him a very fair price. All right, Charles, I won't keep you. Next time I need a shipment, I'll just text you. Sound good, no problem. After Charles left, Wyatt clapped his hands together, grinning. All right, listen up, gentlemen. We're putting the watermelons, bayberries, bananas, and pineapples up front by the entrance. Things like grapes and peaches, stuff that bruises easily, go on the side shelves. And make it look neat, damn it. Just as Wyatt was about to roll up his own sleeves, his phone buzzed in his pocket. It was Leo. Yo, Wyatt, I'm at the main entrance to campus, Leo said. Okay, pull up your map and find a strip with all the food trucks off the south gate. My place is called Cece's Fresh Market. You can't miss it. You asshole, Leo grumbled. You said you were going to pick me up yesterday. Stop whining. I'm actually busy. I'll treat you to a huge lunch, Wyatt promised. He hung up, glanced at the time, and turned to Alex. Hey, Alex, it's almost noon. Can you go grab some food? What are we getting? Alex asked. What's the absolute cheapest thing you can buy around here? Probably the egg fried rice from that cart on the corner. Perfect. Get 5 orders of that. 5. My best friend's about to get here. On it. Yesterday, the empty shelves had made the store feel hollow. Today, as they filled them with colorful fruit, the place finally started to feel grand. Leo, panting slightly from the walk, found the bright green sign for Cece's Fresh Market. He stepped inside, his eyes wide with curiosity. When he spotted Wyatt, he shouted, Holy shit, you're actually here. Wyatt pulled him further into the store. Guys, let me introduce you. This is my best friend, Leo. We call him. Well, never mind. Leo, these are my roommates. He pointed to each in turn. This is Chris. His family is in real estate. We're talking 3 buildings and, entire buildings in their portfolio. This is Sam. Straight up genius. Scored 80 points over the requirement for a top-tier university on his SATs. And the other one wanted to get food. He should be. Before Wyatt could finish, Alex walked in carrying a stack of styrofoam containers. And this is Alex, Wyatt said. I have a feeling you two will get along just fine. Wyatt took the takeout boxes from Alex, handed one to each of his roommates, and then offered the last one to Leo. Leo stared down at the container of fried rice. What's this? What do you mean, what's this? It's noon. It's lunch, Wyatt said. Leo's voice rose. You said you're treating me to a huge meal. I spent 2 hours on the damn subway to get here, and you're giving me a $6 bowl of fried rice. Alex chimed in helpfully. Dude, on campus, it's only $5. Does anyone have a knife? Leo asked the room. I think I want to stab him. Wyatt shoved the container into Leo's hands. Look, we've been working our asses off all morning. Just eat it. I'll buy you a real dinner tonight. Your word has zero credibility with me right now. Wyatt, knowing he was in the wrong, switched tactics. Come on, Leo, don't be like that. See all this? Any fruit in this store, you can eat for free. Help yourself. Wait, Leo said, finally getting to the point. You actually opened this place? Wyatt gestured toward Chris. It's a partnership between me and him. Given Wyatt's introduction of Chris, Leo just assumed the real estate heir had fronted all the cash and didn't press further. The 5 of them squatted on the curb in front of the store, shoveling fried rice into their mouths. Wyatt, between bites, started laying out the afternoon's mission. All right, once we're done eating, Chris, I need you to go to print shop. Get a big A-frame sign made with all our prices. We're putting it right out front for promotion. This store is all about transparent pricing. No shady scales, no bull. And another thing, I'm starting a private Facebook group this afternoon. Every single person who buys something, I want you to invite them to join. Tell them we'll announce special deals in the group first. I want to convert casual shoppers into our own loyal community. The other 4 stared at him, their chopsticks frozen mid-air. Wyatt continued, warming to his subject. On top of that, they can message us directly in the group to place orders. Any order over $20 gets free delivery anywhere on campus. I'm about to draft a post for Instagram. I need all 3 of you to share on your stories. If a customer gets 10 likes on a post tagging us, they get 10% off. 20 likes, 20% off. 30 likes, 30% off. I want everyone in the business school to know about Sesay's fresh market as fast as humanly possible. He looked at them, a predatory glint in his eye. I'm going to teach the owner of that other market a lesson. He's playing checkers, and I'm about to show him what chess looks like. He paused. What? Why are you all staring at me? Alex blinked. Wyatt, have you done this before? Run a business? Nope. Then how do you? Wyatt tossed his empty container into the trash and wiped his hand with a napkin. Some of us are just born with it, my friend. Now hurry up and eat. We're burning daylight. The 4 of them immediately resumed eating at twice the speed. Wyatt spent the next half hour crafting the perfect Instagram post, uploading photos of the vibrant, well-stocked store. After posting it to his feed, he shared it directly to the freshman business program's class GroupMe. The chat immediately blew up. Olivia at Wyatt. Wyatt, opened a fresh market on the food truck strip. Come check it out. All classmates get 30% off, but you have to share my post first. Hannah, wait, class prez, you open your own store? Wyatt, that's right. Another classmate, Ethan, no way. Mark, dude, sick. Olivia, I'm coming to check it out later, from a single point to a line, and from a line to a plane. Wyatt was the point, his classmates the lines. Each of them had their own social circles, and as the post spread, the buzz around Sesay's fresh market exploded. On a Sunday, the food truck strip was always bustling. As the lunch rush subsided, a steady stream of students began to wander down the street. Wyatt had recorded a message on a megaphone and set it on a loop by the entrance. Step right up, don't miss out. Grand opening, fresh fruit, transparent prices. Come on in and grab a deal. In the summer heat, fruit was already a hot seller. The combination of the megaphone and the Instagram promotion worked like a charm. After 2 o'clock, a steady flow of customers started trickling in. Class prez. Wyatt turned to the sound of his name. Olivia, you actually came. Olivia smiled. Our whole dorm came. When our class president starts his own business, we have to come show some support. Wyatt put on a theatrical flourish, bowing like a doorman. For lovely ladies, please step right in. Olivia, Hannah, and their 2 roommates walked in and began browsing. Leo watched from the side, increasingly stunned. It wasn't just that Wyatt had actually become class president. It was that since coming to college, his whole demeanor had become so much smoother. He was nothing like this in high school. The gap between them was getting bigger. Chris, too, was wide-eyed as he saw the store fill up. No way. We just opened. How are there so many people? At this rate, they were actually going to get rich. Sam was swamped at the register. Try to keep up. Please be patient, everyone. It's our first day, so we're still getting the hang of things. It'll be much faster once we get into a rhythm. He pointed to the QR code printout. And please, scan the code here to join our Facebook group. We'll announce all our promotions there, and we offer on-campus delivery. You could buy half a watermelon if you want, and if it's not sweet, you don't pay. The crowd inside grew. Word had spread, and now upperclassmen, sophomores and juniors, were showing up. After his performance at the orientation gala, videos of Wyatt had gone viral on campus. Hearing that he'd opened a fruit market on the Strip and was running a huge sale, people were flocking to see the man himself. From 2 until well past 5, the store was never empty. By early evening, a line was actually forming outside the door. 300 yards down the road, Ron, the owner of Corner Organics, sat on a stool outside his own quiet store, staring in disbelief at the queue snaking out of the new shop. He couldn't process how it had gotten so popular in a matter of hours. Wyatt. A cheerful voice cut through the noise. It was Amber. My roommate told me you opened a store on the Strip. I had to come see if it was true. Wyatt grinned. Alex, Amber's here. Give her one of those pineapple spears you just cut. Alex eagerly handed a pineapple chunk on a bamboo skewer to Amber, who took it with a playful thank you. Wyatt went back to greeting customers. The Facebook group, which had started with just a few members, swelled to over 100. By late afternoon, many of the most popular fruits were nearly sold out. The peak rush hit between 6 and 7:30, just as the sun went down and the oppressive heat faded. Students came out for evening strolls. It's human nature to be drawn to a crowd. People who hadn't even planned on buying fruit saw the mob inside Sesay's and wandered in out of curiosity. Once inside, they almost always bought something. After all, the prices were a little cheaper than the other place, and everything looked incredibly fresh. Amber had arrived around 5, and for some reason, never left. She started helping out, and Wyatt noticed that her presence had boosted Alex's energy and enthusiasm to an all-time high, so he didn't say a word. After 8, the flow of customers finally slowed. Despite the air conditioning, all 5 of them were drenched in sweat. Wyatt checked the time. All right, let's go get some dinner. I'm starving, and I'm sure you all are too. What about the store? Chris asked. Seeing Wyatt hesitate, Sam spoke up. I had a couple of bananas earlier, so I'm not hungry yet. You guys go ahead. I'll stay and watch the shop. I'm on the clock, after all. Wyatt didn't argue. He led Chris, Alex, Leo, and Amber to the same dive bar with the great patio where they'd celebrated before. The 5 of them ordered 8 dishes and a soup. Wyatt was finally being generous. All right, let's have a toast, Wyatt said, raising his glass of beer. To our first victory. Cheers. Chris, Wyatt said after a sip. Remind me tonight to print out a help wanted sign to post on the door. Easy enough. We can swing by the campus print shop on the way back. Before Wyatt could respond, Amber jumped in. Wyatt, you're amazing. We just started the semester, and you're already running your own business. That's so cool. Wyatt just smiled. I guess you could say I got lucky. Everything just fell into place. He wasn't wrong. If it weren't for the unexpected windfall before school started, if he hadn't run into Charles at Sesay's place last week, if there hadn't been a perfect storefront for lease, and if Chris hadn't joined as a partner, this store would never have happened. Hey, can we get that food out here? We're starving to death. Alex called out to the waitress. Coming. 5 minutes passed. Alex was about to call out again when Wyatt stopped him. Let me teach you the right way to hurry up an order at a place like this. He raised his voice just enough to be heard by the owner at the counter. Excuse me, ma'am, those dishes we ordered. If you haven't started making them yet, could you just cancel them for us? The owner rushed over. No, they're already on the grill. They'll be right out. Sure enough, a few moments later, a server brought their food to the table. His roommates and Leo were used to his tricks by now, but Amber looked at Wyatt with a starstruck expression, thinking how mature he was, how confident. After working from noon until past 8, they were famished. Once the food hit the table, they devoured it. The only one holding back was Alex, who, acutely aware of Amber's presence, ate with delicate, slow chews. Leo finished first and pulled out his phone. The subway ride back was 2 hours. Wyatt, I gotta go. If I don't leave now, I'll be sleeping on a park bench tonight. Wyatt quickly wiped his mouth. I'll walk you out. You don't have to. Come on, I said I'll take you. As they stepped out of the bar, Wyatt spotted Mark, a classmate, cruising by on an e-scooter. Mark! Wyatt waved him down. Mark stopped, surprised to see his class president. Hey, Wyatt. I was just heading to your store. Can I borrow your scooter for a bit? I gotta take my friend to the subway station. I'll be right back. Yeah, no problem. Mark hopped off, and Wyatt quickly took his place, with Leo getting on behind him. They zipped off toward the station. On the way, Leo's voice was melancholic. Wyatt, I feel like you're different from how you were in high school. Wyatt feigned ignorance. Am I? Yeah, I can see a huge change in you. I'm sure everyone else can too. Why you sound so down about it? I'm just worried the gap between us is going to get bigger and bigger, and I won't be able to keep up. Don't be an idiot, Wyatt said. We've been friends for almost 20 years. When I make it big, you know I'm taking you with me. Leo frowned. Wyatt, are you losing it? We just turned 18 this year. Wyatt stopped at a red light and looked up at the deep blue night sky, a smile playing on his lips. Yeah, he whispered. We're only 18. Wyatt and Leo were gone, but Chris, Alex, and Amber were still at the bar. Amber asked casually, do you guys know where Wyatt is from? Riverwood, Chris answered. Oh. Chris saw the thoughtful look on her face, glanced at the still oblivious Alex, and decided to play wingman. He and his girlfriend are both from Riverwood, I think. Girlfriend. Just as he'd hoped, Amber's expression shifted. Wyatt has a girlfriend? She pressed. Yep. Amber looked unconvinced and turned to Alex for confirmation. When Alex nodded, a clear look of disappointment crossed her face. Any normal person observing her reaction would have immediately understood that Amber was interested in Wyatt. But Alex, bless his heart, remained completely clueless. The guy who, at the start of the semester, had declared himself a master of romance. If Amber hadn't been there, Chris would have called him an idiot to his face. Amber fell silent. She didn't even wait for Wyatt to get back, making an excuse and leaving a few minutes later. She's gone, you moron. Chris, can you have some class? Alex shot back. Stop picking up Wyatt's habit of cussing all the time. I'm not cussing. I'm stating a fact. You are a moron. Fuck you. Walking back to her dorm, Amber felt a deep sense of frustration. How could Wyatt have a girlfriend? It was so rare to meet a guy who was that amazing, and of course he was taken. Dejected, she slumped on her desk, her mind filled with images of Wyatt, his voice echoing in her head from the orientation gala, singing that line. One look in your eyes, and I knew I'd found the right one. At the time, she'd foolishly thought the right one might be her. Should I just give up? She wondered. She pulled out her phone, opened Google, and typed in the search bar. What to do if the guy you like already has a girlfriend? When Wyatt got back to the store, Chris had already taped the help wanted notice to the front door. Wyatt had forgotten a key detail. He grabbed a marker and added a line at the bottom. Seniors preferred. Chris saw it. Why seniors? Fewer classes, more free time. Then why does it have to be a girl? We've already got enough guys in here. We hire another one, and this place will turn into a monastery. Wyatt crossed his arms. I'm debating adding another line. Pretty ones get priority. Chris laughed. Are you hiring part-time help or a personal secretary? Nah, you're right. That's a little too obvious. Chris had thoughtfully gotten a takeout box for Sam from bar. Sam was now sitting at the counter, eating his dinner. Wyatt, who had transferred all the Venmo and Cash App money to his bank account the night before, checked the balances on his phone. Then he opened the cash register and started counting the bills. Total sales so far are just over $4,300. Of course, it's the first day, so that number is definitely inflated. But still, for a single day, that's not bad at all. Alex checked the time and yawned. Sam's almost done eating. Can we head back to the door now? Head back. Are you kidding me? The second half is just getting started. Alex, Chris, and Sam stared at him. It was after 9. The evening rush was long over. What's second half? Wyatt pulled out his phone, opened the customer group chat, now approaching 300 members, and started typing a message. Chris and Alex leaned in to see. At everyone, hey everyone, we have some leftover mangoes, green grapes, peaches, and cucumbers that we need to sell tonight. 60% off. If you order now, we'll deliver it to you before 10:30 p.m. for any order over $10. Delivery to the front of women's dorms only. Chris was stunned. There's another move. Fruit had a short shelf life. If it went bad, it not only cut into their profits, but could damage the store's reputation if a customer bought it. On the surface, Wyatt was offering a discount. But what he was really telling everyone in that group was, we only sell fresh fruit. When it came to food, fresher was always better. The moment Wyatt sent that message, tapping directly into that customer psychology, someone in the group tagged him. At Wyatt, hey, can I get 2 pounds of mangoes and a pound of peaches? Can you deliver to dorm 2? You bet. At Wyatt, our dorm wants 4 pounds of cucumbers and 2 pounds of mangoes. We're in dorm 2 also. Wyatt stood up. Well, what are you two idiots waiting for? Pack it up and get it over there. What? You want us to deliver it? Chris protested. It's just for the first couple of days. Once we get things rolling, I'll buy a couple of e-scooters just for deliveries. Chris clapped Alex on the shoulder. Come on, he's the boss. But he's not paying me, Alex grumbled. Chris grinned. If he won't, I will. Now stop complaining and let's go. The two of them grabbed the large bags and sprinted toward the women's dorms. They had just gotten back when they found Wyatt waiting with 2 more full bags. Great work, guys, great work. We close at 10:30. Keep up the hustle. You son of a... They grumbled, but dutifully ran off again. This went on until 10:30, by which time they'd sold almost everything. A triumphant Wyatt finally declared, "All right, that's a wrap for today. We'll do it all again tomorrow." At 10:30 p.m., the campus was nearly deserted. The streetlights cast their four shadows long on the pavement. Alex stared at the step counter on his phone, complaining that he'd walked over 20,000 steps. Chris didn't feel much of anything, except a sense of fulfillment. It was exhausting, sure, but he was learning things you could never get from a textbook. Sam wasn't tired at all. No matter how hard this was, it was still easier than harvesting wheat in the blazing sun back home. And he was getting paid. He glanced at Wyatt, his eyes filled with a mixture of gratitude and admiration. Wyatt was on the phone. "Hey, Charles? It's Wyatt. Yeah, could you bring another truckload of fruit tomorrow around noon?" "Oh, today's batch is pretty much all gone." "Yep, noon is perfect. I have a class in the morning and one in the afternoon, so that's my only free time." "Okay, great. I'll talk to the suppliers tonight, and you can just pick it up for me tomorrow." "Sound good. Talk to you then. Bye." Back in the dorm, the first thing Wyatt did was send a message to Cece. It was already late, and he was afraid she'd fall asleep. "Wyatt, just closed up." "Cece, so late." "Wyatt, business was good. The store was really busy." "Cece, how much did you make?" "Wyatt, didn't do a detailed count, but gross was around 5,000. "Cece, that's a lot." "Wyatt, and that's just the first day." "Cece, "Wyatt, are you a little upset?" "Cece, no." "Wyatt, I can feel it." "Wyatt, is it because I'm texting you so late?" "Cece, no." "Wyatt, things are just crazy at the beginning. Once it stabilizes, I'll have more time." "Wyatt, besides, I'm earning all this money for you." "Cece, Wyatt, how else am I supposed to take care of you in the future?" Monday meant number 8 a.m. class, which gave Wyatt and his crew some much-needed rest. They finally crawled out of bed around 9, making it to their lecture just as the bell rang. After the class ended, Wyatt, Chris, and Alex planned to head straight to the store. Sam started to follow, but Wyatt stopped him. "You go eat first. Once you're done, you can come relieve us at the store. Otherwise, it'll be empty for a while." Sam nodded and headed off. When the three of them arrived, Charles's little box truck was already parked out front. Wyatt quickly unlocked and rolled up the security gate. Charles walked in, his eyes widening as he saw the empty shelves. "I thought that first shipment would last you at least a week. How'd you sell it all so fast?" Wyatt just smiled. "Just got lucky, I guess." Seeing Wyatt wasn't going to elaborate, Charles didn't press the issue and helped them move the new inventory into the store. While they were stocking shelves, a different scene was playing out across campus. In the student advisor's office, Ethan stood before Ms. Sutton. "Ms. Sutton, I don't think what Wyatt is doing is right," he said, his tone self-righteous. "He's the class president. How can he be running his own business on the side?" Ms. Sutton smiled faintly. "And what part of that do you find to be a problem?" "A class president should be completely dedicated to his duties," Ethan argued. "With him running a store, how will he have time to manage class affairs?" "The duties of a class president aren't that demanding," Ms. Sutton replied calmly. "Besides, the university actually encourages student entrepreneurship. I can't remove him from his position for this." "Ethan, do you have some kind of personal issue with Wyatt?" "No, Ethan Leet. I just think it's inappropriate." Ms. Sutton leaned forward, her smile unwavering. "Ethan, during the election for class president, do you know how many votes you received?" "I know. 3. And did you know," she continued, "that one of those 3 votes came from Wyatt?" "What?" Ethan's head snapped up, his face a mask of disbelief. "How is that possible?" "Wyatt's vote was turned in with his roommates," Ms. Sutton explained. "Everyone else used a black pen, but those 2 ballots were filled out in red. Afterward, Wyatt confirmed it with me himself. He voted for you. There's no mistake." Ethan was floored. From his perspective, it made no sense. Why would his direct competitor vote for him? Ms. Sutton gently interrupted his thoughts. "It's getting late. You should go get some lunch. In the future, if Wyatt is ever unavailable, I'll entrust class matters to you." "Okay, Ms. Sutton." Ethan left the office in a daze. As he walked out, Ms. Sutton shook her head with a soft sigh. 2 of her colleagues walked in. "Hey, Amy, Jess, come over here," she called. "What's up?" Ms. Sutton lifted a large bag overflowing with fruit from the floor. "One of my freshmen brought me all this morning. Help yourselves." "Sutton, are you accepting bribes now?" One of them joked. She rolled her eyes. "It's from his own fruit market. A freshman opened his own store." "I know, right?" I was shocked, too. By the time Sam finished lunch and got to the store, Wyatt and the others had already arranged all the new fruit on the shelves. "Sam, we're gonna go grab some food. You hold down the fort." "Okay." The three of them headed to the main campus cafeteria, which was mostly empty by now. As they walked in, Wyatt was debating what to get when a familiar figure approached from the opposite direction. Alex saw Jessica Evans walking toward them and jabbed Wyatt excitedly with his elbow. Wyatt frowned. What? Alex mouthed her name without making a sound. Are you mute? Campus. Queen. Alex finally managed to whisper. Wyatt looked up. Strolling toward them was Jessica Evans. Her long hair flowed over her shoulders, her beautiful, slightly aloof face graced with a pair of bright, captivating eyes. Her figure was slender and elegant, her simple white blouse and high-waisted jeans radiating an aura of confidence and class. As she drew closer, a thought struck Wyatt. She's the queen of the business school. If I could get her to share my post, the store's popularity would skyrocket. So, just as Jessica was about to pass them, Wyatt abruptly stuck out his arm, blocking her path. Chris and Alex jumped. What the hell are you doing? Jessica's gaze fell to the arm barring her way, and her delicate eyebrows furrowed. Wyatt flashed a charming smile. Jessica, hey, can I get your number? Alex's eyes nearly popped out of his head. You just going for it? Straight up asking for a number? The few remaining people in the cafeteria all turned to watch. She was the campus queen. After all, she drew attention wherever she went. Time seemed to freeze. Then, to Alex's utter astonishment, Jessica pulled her phone from her pocket and said coolly, Are you scanning me? Or, am I scanning you? Wyatt grinned. I'll scan you. No. She actually said yes. This makes no logical sense. As a freshman, Jessica had been bombarded with confessions of love, all of which she had mercilessly rejected. There was one infamous incident where a guy had set up a heart of candles below her dorm window, ready for a grand declaration, only for Jessica to report him to the dorm supervisor, who promptly extinguished the flames with a bucket of water. After that, no one had dared to try such a brash move again. She had become a symbol of cool, unattainable divinity. But what was happening now? Wyatt just asked for a number, and she gives it to him? Alex wasn't the only one dumbfounded. Several other guys in the cafeteria watched them exchange contact info, their eyes burning with a mixture of envy, jealousy, and pure hatred. One animal. My name's Wyatt, by the way, he said. She acknowledged and started to walk away. Oh, one more thing. Wyatt called after her. Could you share the first post on my Instagram feed for me? Jessica stopped in her tracks. She took a deep breath, then walked quickly out of the cafeteria without looking back. That guy, did he only add me so I would share his post? What are you getting for lunch? Chris asked. Dude, why did she add you? Alex demanded, still in shock. Wyatt shrugged, a smug, punchable look on his face. Maybe I'm just that handsome. Wyatt ordered a plate with 2 meats and a vegetable and had just sat down when a text came in from Sam. Sam, Wyatt, a senior girl is here to apply for the job. Wyatt, tell her to have a seat. I'll be there as soon as I finish eating. Sam, okay. Wyatt inhaled his food in a record 5 minutes and rushed back to the store. As he approached, he saw a young woman with a dark red shoulder bag standing inside. From the back, she had a nice figure about 5'3", wearing heels that, with her white blouse and skirt, gave her a sophisticated look. Miss, our boss is back, Sam said. The woman turned. Her face wasn't stunning at first glance, but she was the kind of person who grows more attractive the more you look at her. On Wyatt's personal rating scale, she was a solid 8. 2. Hello. Wyatt strode forward confidently and extended his hand. The woman looked surprised. She hadn't expected the owner to be so young. As a senior, her life was a frantic mix of studying for the GRE, prepping for the bar exam, and working on her thesis. She was more disconnected from campus gossip than the underclassmen and had no idea the new market was run by freshmen. She blinked for a moment before shaking his hand. Hi, I'm Wyatt. I own the place. I'm Valerie. Wyatt offered her a stool and sat down beside her. He gave her a quick once-over before getting straight to the point. You're a senior? Yes. Do you have a lot of classes? Not really. My afternoons and weekends are free. I'm just looking for a part-time job while I study for the GRE, so I don't have to ask my parents for spending money. Wyatt thought for a moment. The hours are 12:30 to 9 p.m. The pay is $2,500 a month. Is that acceptable? The offer was $1,000 more than Sam's, but it was justified. Sam had afternoon classes and couldn't be in the store as consistently as Valerie could. Valerie was decisive. Yes. When do I start? Right now. Now. Yep. Starting now. Sam, can you show our new colleague how to use the register? Sure. Valerie had only been passing by when she saw the hiring sign and decided to try her luck. She never expected it to be settled so quickly and easily. The register was simple, no challenge for a college student. After a few minutes of instruction, she had the hang of it. Wyatt introduced the rest of the crew. This is Sam. You two will probably be seeing a lot of each other. This is Chris, my business partner. And this is Alex. The four of us are roommates. So you're all freshmen? Yep. We're in the business school. You? Valerie smiled. The law school. Wyatt's interest was piqued. Oh, you're studying law? Can you help me with a legal question? Go ahead. Let's say, hypothetically of course, I lose my ID and a female college student finds it. We agree to meet at a hotel for her to return it. As a thank you, I Venmo her $200. Is that illegal? Valerie didn't quite get it first, but when she saw Chris trying to stifle a laugh, she realized Wyatt was joking. She smiled. My focus is on economic law. I'm not familiar with that particular scenario. Okay, or how about this? If my roommate here marries a 60-year-old rich woman and the woman passes away, can he demand that her 40-year-old son pay him alimony? Alex shoved Wyatt. Get the hell out of here. Do I look like the kind of guy who'd be a sugar baby? Huh. Valerie couldn't help but laugh along with him. The atmosphere was so light and fun. That afternoon, Wyatt had a required major course he couldn't skip. But for general education classes like political science, he'd ditch without a second thought. For Wyatt, college was just a launch pad. He wasn't here to absorb knowledge. He was here to make money. He wasn't worried about failing a class at the end of the semester. If he really couldn't graduate, it didn't matter. He'd just drop out. Once he became a millionaire or a billionaire, the school would probably add him to its list of distinguished alumni. The world was just that pragmatic. Power and wealth gave you the loudest voice. Wyatt, can I ask you something? Alex said during a lull in the lecture. Shoot. After graduation, would you ever get a stable job? Never. Why not? Stable means doing the same repetitive crap every single day, Wyatt explained. That kind of life is mind-numbingly boring. But what if the pay and benefits were amazing? Alex pressed. 9 to 5, weekends off, the whole deal. Wealth comes from strategy, not from labor, Wyatt said, sounding like a motivational speaker. Working for someone else will never beat working for yourself. Besides, my fruit market is already this profitable. Do you really think I'll be making less money 4 years from now? Chris chimed in. It really depends on what you want out of life. Wyatt continued, unstoppable now. Think about it. The word job stands for just over broke. You're trading your finite time for a fixed amount of money. But when you build a business, you're building an asset, something that makes money for you while you sleep. The rich have assets, the poor have jobs. Damn, that's deep, Alex muttered. Chris just chuckled. Where do you come up with these theories? When their class ended, the four of them returned to the store just as it was getting busy. Wyatt had Sam and Alex stay to help, while he and Chris went to pick up 2 used e-scooters they'd found on Craigslist. They got both for $1,600. They were off-brand and a little beat up, but they held a charge and were perfect for on-campus deliveries. It was just after 6. Wyatt stood by the entrance with his megaphone, calling out to passers-by as the sun began its slow descent. He yawned, slumping into a chair, his eyelids getting heavy. Just as he was about to drift off, a pair of long, flawless legs entered his field of vision. Wyatt looked up and a smile spread across his face. Jessica, hey, what brings you here? Do you have any apples? Of course, Wyatt said, hopping to his feet. Fuji, Red Delicious, Granny Smith, we got a few kinds. As Jessica walked into the store, every head turned. No one expected the campus queen to just show up here. Wyatt followed her in, sidling up next to her with a wheedling tone. So, did you share my post? Jessica's voice was cool. No. What? Wyatt blurted out. Why not? You can't just go back on your word like that. Jessica picked up an apple, her brows knitting together. Who said I gave you my word? And why should I share your post? What's in it for me? There is, Wyatt said earnestly. I'm a man who believes in quid pro quo. She ignored him. You share my post once, he pressed, and I'll give you 2 pounds of apples for free. How's that? Pretty generous, right? Jessica looked at him, considering it seriously. You're sure? Positive? Fine, she nodded. Weigh out 2 pounds of apples for me first. Wyatt had Alex weigh the apples and pack them in a plastic bag stamped with the Sesay's Fresh Market logo. Jessica took the bag, then pulled out her phone and, right in front of Wyatt, shared his promotional post to her Instagram story. Wyatt waved cheerfully as she left. Come back soon, Jessica. Jessica cracked a small smile and walked away with unhurried grace. The campus queen was a public figure. Getting her to post an ad in exchange for 2 pounds of apples was an absolute steal for Wyatt. But a little while later, when Wyatt was scrolling through his own phone, he realized Jessica's share wasn't showing up in his feed. He typed out a message. Jessica, why can't I see the post you shared? Her reply came back instantly. Because I said it so that no one could see my story. Wyatt, are you messing with me? Jessica, you told me to share it. You never specified that anyone had to see it. Wyatt, Venmo me for the 2 pounds of apples. Now, Jessica, the recipient has rejected your message. Damn it, Wyatt muttered. He was speechless. It was the first time since starting college that he'd been so thoroughly played by a girl. What's up? Alex asked, noticing his expression. Nothing, Wyatt mumbled, too embarrassed to admit what had happened. Evening was the store's busiest period. Wyatt worked the door, Chris and Alex helped cut fruit for samples, while Sam and Valerie handled the register. With the experience from the previous day, everything ran like a well-oiled machine. Excuse me, a customer asked Valerie. Do you sell eggs here? Valerie shook her head. Eggs? This is a fruit market. Oh, okay. Just asking. Wyatt, at the door, overheard the exchange and poked his head in. Hey, what do you need the eggs for? For breakfast, the girl replied. Just eggs? Yeah, she explained. A lot of girls who are trying to watch their weight just eat a hard-boiled egg in the morning. It's easy and nutritious, but they're a pain to buy. You always have to go all the way to the grocery store. Wyatt's eyes lit up. Hey, are you in our Facebook group? If I can get eggs wholesale, I'll announce it in the group first thing. Oh, cool. The girl scanned the QR code to join the group and left. Sam added, Wyatt, she's not the first one who's asked about eggs. That means there's a market, Wyatt said, already pulling out his phone. I'm going to call my supplier right now. He dialed Charles, who, besides fruit, could transport pretty much anything. He was the right person to ask. After confirming Charles had a source for eggs, Wyatt immediately asked him to bring a few crates with the next delivery. Charles readily agreed. Wyatt quickly posted in the group chat at everyone. We have a shipment of eggs arriving tomorrow afternoon. Limited quantity, so you can pre-order now to reserve yours. The message had barely been up for a second before replies started flooding in. Wyatt, surprised by the high demand, had Sam start taking down pre-orders. The profit margin on eggs was tiny, but Wyatt wasn't trying to make money off them. It was about generating traffic. In this era, very few people understood that concept. But Wyatt did. In the coming years, traffic would be king. And if you could capture the traffic, you could capture the money. At the Juilliard School, in dorm room 205. Cece, why are you spacing out again? Sophie asked, seeing Cece sitting motionless at her desk. I'm not, Cece said quickly. Is something on your mind? Sophie asked, concerned. Just as Cece was trying to figure out how to respond, Isabel giggled. Isn't it obvious? Our dear Cece is clearly thinking about someone. Sophie, just leave her be. Haven't you heard the saying? Of the 3,000 sicknesses a person can have, only lovesickness has no cure. I am not. Cece protested, her face flushing. Sophie smiled. That boyfriend of yours, really? The weekend came and went, and he didn't even come to visit you. Ashley chimed in. I know, right? He's not very considerate at all. As her 3 roommates began to complain about Wyatt, Cece quietly defended him. He's his class president, so he's really busy since school just started. And it's over an hour on the train to get here, so... We know, Isabel cooed. Someone's starting to feel sorry for him. I am not. Relax. I've been watching you stare at your phone for ages. If you want to talk to him, just send him a message. Why are you hesitating? What? Are you afraid you'll bother him? Cece gave a small, honest nod. Isabel promptly pulled a chair up next to her, adopting the air of a seasoned expert. Cece, listen to me. You can't think like that. If you send him a message and he really likes you, he'll reply no matter how busy he is. A relationship has to be a two-way street. Do you know what that means? Cece shook her head. It means one person can't be doing all the work. You have to provide emotional value for each other. Boys are actually really easy. If he's had a long, tiring day, and you send him a simple, you must be exhausted today, sending you a hug, he'll probably be so happy he won't be able to sleep all night. Honestly, boys are so childish. Seeing Cece still staring blankly, Isabel snatched the phone from her hand. Watch and learn. Cece opened her mouth to protest, but seeing that Isabel had already started typing, she held back. Ashley and Sophie quickly crowded around to watch. Cece, what you doing, Wyatt? At the store? Have you eaten? Cece, I have. You? Wyatt, not yet. Wyatt, store's pretty busy. Cece, are you tired? Wyatt, nope. Cece, but you've been running through my mind all day. Reading the line Isabel had sent, Cece's ears turned bright red. Ashley and Sophie waited eagerly for Wyatt's reply, expecting something equally sappy. Instead, Wyatt, Isabel, what are you doing with Cece's phone? Wyatt, I'm telling you, don't you dare corrupt my girlfriend. Ha ha ha. As Wyatt exposed Isabel, Ashley and Sophie burst into peals of laughter. Isabel pouted. How did you know it was me? Wyatt, because she could never say something that cheesy. Isabel, then why didn't you suspect Sophie or Ashley? Wyatt, because you're the only pro driver in that group. Seeing Wyatt's message, Isabel pouted and handed the phone back to Cece, muttering, "You're no fun." Ashley was still laughing. "Looks like the pro driver crashed and burned this time." Isabel lunged, tackling Ashley onto the bed and tickling her stomach. "Who crashed? Who crashed, huh? Ha ha ha. Stop, it tickles. Sophie, help. Ha ha ha. Save me." Cece picked up her phone, a smile spreading across her face as she read the chat history. She typed out an explanation. "Isabel stole my phone. I didn't give it to her." "Wyatt, I know." "Cece, why haven't you eaten yet? It's so late." "Wyatt, this is our peak time. I'll eat after the rush." "Wyatt, did you miss me today?" "Cece, no." "Cece, go away." "Wyatt," gif of a cartoon character rolling away. Cece's smile widened. She was about to type more when a call came through. There was no contact name, but she recognized her father's number instantly. She hesitated for a second, then declined the call. Charles, seeing the call was rejected, quickly sent a message on WhatsApp. "Cece, why didn't you answer your dad's call?" Cece replied tersely, "Busy." Charles, trying his best to sound gentle, added a smiley face to his next message. "What are you busy with?" "Cece, video chatting with Wyatt." The message landed like a punch to the gut. Charles could feel his blood pressure spiking. He typed, his fingers trembling with suppressed anger. "Cece, you tell me. What's so great about this Wyatt? What on earth do you see in him?" Cece didn't answer directly. "You don't know him." Charles was livid. "You're right, I don't know him. But right now, I'd really like to end him." Over the next few days, business at the fruit market continued to boom. The Facebook group grew, the Instagram discount campaign was a massive success, and the newly added eggs became a huge traffic driver. Combined with the nightly flash sales on leftover fruit, they almost never had any waste. The store's profits climbed steadily higher. As the owner, Wyatt was thrilled. But for every winner, there's a loser. Ron, the owner of Corner Organics, watched the success of Cece's fresh market with a growing sense of dread. Before, he had a monopoly on the strip. He could charge whatever he wanted, and people would pay. But now, since Cece's had opened, his own store was a ghost town. Ron knew he had to do something. On Wednesday, he launched a third anniversary sale, 30% off all fruit, plus an extra $5 off for any purchase over 50. Chris saw the signs for the sale and asked Wyatt with some concern, "What do we do now?" Wyatt just laughed. "Don't panic. He's trying to start a price war." But price wars are a lose-lose game. With a discount like that, he's not making any money. He might even be losing it. And as soon as his sale ends, his customers will vanish. He has no way of building customer loyalty. Customer loyalty? Wyatt didn't elaborate, just patted Chris on the shoulder. "We don't have to do anything. Just stick to our current plan. This won't have much of an impact on us." And he was right. Corner Organics did see a temporary boost in business, and Ron felt a flicker of triumph. But when he tallied up the day's earnings, he found his profit margin was razor thin. After factoring in labor costs, he had basically made nothing. The store was full, but it wasn't profitable. He knew he couldn't sustain the sale for more than a week without going into the red. Just as Wyatt predicted, the sale had a minor effect on their business, but it wasn't serious. Cece's Fresh Market still had the unbeatable advantage of on-campus delivery. On Friday afternoon, after texting Charles to schedule the next delivery, Wyatt gave Chris his instructions. "I'm going to see my girlfriend. The store's in your hands for the next 2 days. You're leaving on a Friday?" "Yeah." "Where are you staying tonight?" "A hotel, probably." Chris cleared his throat and, mimicking the tone Wyatt had used with Paige, said with mock seriousness, "Well, remember to be safe then. Shut up and give me a ride to the subway station on the e-scooter." This time, Wyatt didn't tell Cece he was coming. For the past week, they had barely exchanged more than a few texts a day. Part of it was because the store was busy, but part of it was a deliberate strategy on Wyatt's part. He believed that constant contact could make a relationship stale. A bit of push and pull with the occasional small surprise. That was the key to keeping things fresh. About an hour and a half later, he was standing outside her dorm building. In his hands, he held a bouquet, but instead of flowers, it was made of perfectly arranged, glistening strawberries. A guy holding a bouquet made of strawberries outside the women's dorms was an unusual sight. It drew more than a few curious glances from the artsy students passing by, all wondering who the lucky recipient would be. Wyatt pulled out his phone and called Cece. "Hello. Come down." "What did you say?" "I said come down. I'm right outside your dorm." Cece hung up without another word, scrambling to her feet and rushing toward the door. Seeing her dash out, Ashley was the first to ask, "What's going on?" Sophie added, "Could it be that Wyatt's here again?" "It has to be," Isabel declared. The 3 roommates shot up from their seats and rushed to the balcony, craning their necks to look down. Cece ran to the entrance and saw him immediately. 2 weeks, she thought. He definitely got paler, and maybe a little thinner. Noticing the small crowd of onlookers, Cece felt a blush creep up her neck. She walked over to him and whispered, "What are you doing here?" Wyatt grinned. "I missed you." Cece lifted her foot as if to stomp on his, but this time Wyatt was ready. He hopped back a step, dodging it easily. I misspoke, he said quickly. "I wanted to see you. Is that better?" Cece pouted a silent complaint. "You didn't even tell me you were coming." Wyatt stepped forward and presented her with a strawberry bouquet. "I wanted to surprise you. It's more like a shock. I picked these strawberries myself," he said proudly. "Kept them covered with plastic wrap the whole way here. They're perfectly clean." It was the first time Cece had ever received a bouquet. Even though it was an unconventional one, and even though she was trying to suppress it, a joyful smile bloomed across her face. At the same time, from the second-floor balcony, Isabel called out, "Wyatt, I want some strawberries too." Ashley quickly added, "Me too." Sophie's voice followed, "And me." Wyatt looked up at them and waved. "There's enough for everyone." Cece couldn't stand being the center of attention. Flustered, she grabbed Wyatt's hand and quickly pulled him away. Cece dragged Wyatt into a narrow alley between two buildings. Her face was bright red, her eyes darting around nervously. The whole expression was utterly adorable. "Wyatt, you can't do that." "Do what?" "Next time you come see me, you have to come secretly." Wyatt looked helpless. "I'm not a thief. Why do I have to be sneaky?" "I don't care. You just can't be so loud about it. My school is small. When you do that, the entire campus knows you're here to see me. And if I'm not loud about it," Wyatt countered, "how will all the other guys know that a girl as beautiful as you is taken? What if someone bothers you when I'm not around?" He stepped closer, backing her against the brick wall. He placed a hand on the wall beside her head, looking down at her. Cece, like a startled rabbit, couldn't meet his gaze. "There are no bad guys at my school," she whispered, her face turning an even deeper shade of red. "You're the biggest bad guy here." She tried to push him away, but he didn't budge. Her small hands pressed against his chest, and she could feel the strong, steady beat of his heart. Her face grew hotter. Through her peripheral vision, she saw him staring at her, his Adam's apple bobbing as he swallowed. He looked like a predator sizing up its prey. Panicked, she blurted out, "Are you hungry? I'll treat you to dinner." "I'm starving," Wyatt said, "but I don't want to eat dinner." Cece tilted her head. "Then what do you want to eat?" "I want to eat you." Wyatt, seeing her face was now the color of a ripe tomato, Wyatt backed away, laughing. "I'm just kidding. I came straight here after work. My stomach is growling. You have to treat me to something good." Cece shot him a reproachful look, but finally relented. "Let me take this back to my dorm first." "Okay, and you're not to come up to the women's dorms. Wait for me right here." "Got it." As he watched her hurry away, Wyatt smiled to himself. He knew it wasn't time to kiss her yet. The move against the wall had been a test, a way to gauge her reaction. Was she angry, shy, or receptive? If she were angry, it would mean she still saw him as just a friend. If she were shy, it meant she at least didn't dislike him, and there was room to move forward. If she were receptive, well, that would mean things were already settled between them. But that was unrealistic. They hadn't known each other that long. Good things take time. Cece rushed back to her dorm. The moment she opened the door, she was met by the mischievous grins of her three roommates. She pretended not to notice, placed the strawberry bouquet on her desk, and said quietly, "You can have the strawberries if you want. I'm going out to eat." "Have fun. Go get him, Tiger." Cece fled. Her roommates were too gossipy, and Isabel was constantly bringing up explicit topics that made her blush. "What do you want to eat?" she asked Wyatt. "Let's check out the cafeteria." Cece looked at him, surprised. "You want to eat at the cafeteria? Is that not allowed?" She didn't overthink it. She let him out of the alley, but just before they stepped out, she turned, pointed a small finger at him, and warned, "No talking nonsense, and no being a creep." I know. They walked side by side toward the cafeteria. It was peak dinner time, and the entrance was swarming with people. It had to be said, the average level of attractiveness at an art school was significantly higher than at a regular university. Even those who weren't naturally stunning knew how to use makeup to their advantage. To a casual observer, the place was filled with handsome guys and beautiful girls. While Wyatt was confident in his own looks, he'd be lying if he said he didn't feel a little pressure. The cafeteria was laid out like any other. Wyatt scanned the various food stations and asked Cece, "Where do you usually eat?" She pointed to one of the windows. "Then that's what we're having," he said with a smile, walking over with Cece right behind him. He ordered braised potatoes with pork, stir-fry greens, and scrambled eggs with tomato. As he was about to walk away with his tray, the cafeteria lady stopped him. "Hey, you haven't paid yet." Wyatt grinned. "My girlfriend is paying for me." The lady glanced at Cece, then picked up another tray. "What can I get for you, sweetie?" Cece wrinkled her nose. The same as him. The same as your boyfriend, got it. The lady quickly dished out an identical meal for Cece. Cece sat down across from Wyatt and stared at him, but he deliberately kept his head down, pretending not to notice. Eventually, she gave up and started eating. Halfway through their meal, a message came in from Miranda, Cece's mom. She wanted to know what Cece was up to, but she knew her daughter wouldn't tell her directly. Wyatt had become her sole source of intel. Since the start of college, Miranda had probably talked to Wyatt more than she had her own daughter. He pulled out his phone. Miranda, Wyatt, have you eaten? Wyatt thought for a moment. Then, when Cece wasn't looking, he discreetly snapped a picture of her and sent it to Miranda. He typed back, "We're eating now?" Miranda zoomed in on the photo. Ever observant, she noticed their meals were identical. Miranda, are you at Cece's school right now? Wyatt, yep. I came over this afternoon. Miranda immediately grasped the situation. Your school isn't close by. What are you going to do tonight? Wyatt, probably get a hotel nearby. Miranda thought for a moment, then sent Wyatt a Venmo payment $4.100. Wyatt, Annie, what's this for? Miranda, get a nice hotel, but when you two are out, don't let Cece get back to her dorm too late. Wyatt knew what she was implying. He quickly replied, don't worry, Annie. I understand completely. Miranda, okay, finish your meal. I'll ask you about the other stuff tonight. Wyatt, okay. Cece watched Wyatt put his phone away. Who were you texting? My mom. Your mom, she pouted. What's so exciting about texting your mom that you have to smile like that? Cece stopped eating when her plate was still half full. Eating too much at night made her feel bloated and was bad for her digestion, so she always ate a fixed amount for dinner. Wyatt looked up at her tray. Why'd you stop? I'm full. Without a second thought, Wyatt reached his chopsticks across the table, plucked a piece of pork from her plate, and popped it in his mouth. This is such a waste, he said, his tone matter of fact. Cece was about to protest, but the meat was already in his mouth. Her face flushed. Why are you eating from my plate? You weren't going to eat it, he said reasonably. It's a waste to throw it out. Besides, I don't mind. As he spoke, he brazenly took another piece. Cece, seeing how shameless he was, decided to just pretend she didn't see it. After finishing his own meal, Wyatt let out a satisfied burp. Got any tissues? Cece pulled a small pack from her pocket and handed him one. He wiped his mouth, returned their trays to the collection area, and they left the cafeteria together. Dusk was settling in. They strolled along a tree-lined path, and Cece took the initiative. So you came to see me? What about your store back at school? It's all taken care of. Besides my roommates, I hired another part-timer to help out. A guy? Or a girl? Wyatt found her question amusing. A girl, he said with a grin. A senior. But don't worry, she's not as pretty as you. Hearing this, and seeing the smirk on his face, Cece knew he was teasing her. I'm not jealous, she said quickly. You're overthinking it. I was just asking. Wyatt laughed. I never said you were jealous. You. Cece huffed. Wyatt, you're an insufferable, shameless, reptilian jerk. She stormed off ahead of him. Hey, why are you walking so fast? Wait for me. She ignored him and kept walking. Night fell. The campus streetlights flickered on, and a cool evening breeze swept over them. After walking 2 laps around the track, Cece glanced at the time and finally asked, Are you going back to your school tonight? No. Then where are you staying? I'll find a hotel nearby. You're such a cheapskate. You're actually willing to spend money on a hotel. I'm only cheap with myself, he said. When have I ever been stingy with you? Do you know how expensive those strawberries I got you were? I never buy them for myself. Cece said nothing, but silently pulled out her phone and sent Wyatt a $100 Venmo payment. His phone buzzed. He looked at the notification and asked, What's this for? Get a nice hotel. Awesome. Wyatt accepted the money, a grin spreading across his face as he thought, like mother, like daughter. Even the payment amount is the same. He sat down next to her on a bench by the track and said shamelessly, So, are you going to add another $43? Why? To make it $143. Cece turned her head away, refusing to look at him. The moon rose in the sky, full and bright. She looked up at the moon. He turned his head to look at her. Both were breathtaking. At 8 o'clock, Wyatt walked Cece back to her dorm, then found a hotel near the Juilliard campus and checked in. He spent half an hour on the phone with his mom, Sarah, and after he got out of the shower, he saw a friend request on Facebook from his cousin, Riley. He had no idea how she found him. The moment he accepted, she started a video call. Wyatt, you're too close to the camera. Your entire face is taking up the whole screen. Mom, Wyatt's making fun of me again. He could hear his Aunt Susan's voice in the background. He's just teasing you, sweetie. Wyatt heard her voice and quickly said hello. After a few pleasantries, Riley took the phone in her room and whispered, Wyatt, How are things going with you and Cece? We had dinner together tonight. Really? Riley, at her young age, already had a voracious appetite for gossip. So, are you two officially dating now? Basically. But don't you dare tell your mom. Your mom is just like mine. The second they know something, the whole world knows it. I know, Riley said dutifully. My lips are sealed. You're in middle school now. Study hard so you can get into a good college. I know. And if any boys bother you, you tell me immediately. Ugh, you're so annoying. You sound just like my mom. I'm gonna go talk to Cece now. The call ended abruptly. Wyatt wasn't a picky sleeper. He slept soundly in the hotel, even better than he did in his own dorm. The dorm bed was small, and he was often woken up by the sound of Alex talking in his sleep. The hotel was different. The bed was big and soft, the room was quiet, and there were no sounds of intense late-night gaming sessions coming from the next bed over. He woke up early. The weekend was only 2 days, and he didn't want to waste a single moment. After a complimentary breakfast at the hotel, he headed straight for the women's dorms. On a Saturday morning, many students were still asleep. He sent Cece a text and waited for her on the steps outside. Cece had just woken up and was in the middle of washing her face. Isabel peeked out from the balcony and called back to her. Are you just going to let Wyatt wait downstairs for all of us? What else am I supposed to do? Why don't we just invite him up? Before Cece could answer, Sophie said, but will the dorm supervisor let him? The supervisor's eyesight isn't that good, Isabel said dismissively. Forget it. Ashley, come down with me. We'll bring him up. Wait, let me get dressed. Let's go. Cece was too embarrassed to go down herself, worried about how awkward it would be if they got caught. But she didn't stop Isabel and the others. She didn't have anything particularly private lying around, and Wyatt had been in their room once before at the start of the semester. If her 3 roommates were okay with it, she certainly wasn't going to object. Isabel, Ashley, and Sophie met Wyatt at the dorm entrance. Hey, handsome, what are you guys doing down here? Isabel grinned. Didn't Cece tell you? The 3 of us are tagging along with you two today. Hey, what's with that look? Are you not happy about having us as chaperones? I would never say that. Wyatt knew better than to offend his girlfriend's roommates. You never knew what kind of stories they'd tell. He put on a charming smile. Having so many beautiful women accompany me for the day, it's an honor. How could I possibly mind? Well, don't just stand there. Come on up with us. It'll take us at least half an hour to wash up and do our makeup. Wyatt scratched his head. Is that appropriate? Isabel snorted. What are you pretending to be shy for? It's not like you haven't been up there before. But what about your dorm supervisor? Her eyesight is terrible. Just stand in the middle of us and we'll run up together. Wyatt shrugged. If you guys don't mind, I definitely don't. Then let's go. He followed the 3 of them into the women's dorm. They scurried up to the 2nd floor at top speed. Luckily, the hallway was empty, and he made it into room 205 without incident. Handsome, have a seat. Give us half an hour. We'll be ready soon. Okay. The 4 girls immediately began their morning routines, bustling between the bathroom and their mirrors, applying makeup. The scene was overwhelmingly fragrant and feminine. Desperate to avoid an embarrassing physical reaction so early in the morning, Wyatt quickly pulled out his phone as a distraction. Just then, a message from Leo came in. You up? Wyatt, yep. Leo, where are you? Wyatt, you're not going to believe this, but I'm in a girl's dorm room right now. Leo, are you sick? Who are you trying to fool, bragging this early in the morning? In a girl's dorm? You might as well say you're on the moon. Isabel, can I borrow your concealer? Go for it. Sophie, quick, help me with my eyeliner. I can never get it right myself. Cece, this foundation you recommended is amazing. It looks so natural. Wyatt certainly wasn't going to take a picture to prove he was there. Instead, he quietly pressed the voice memo button, recorded their chatter, and sent the 50-second clip to Leo. Leo, seeing the long voice note, curiously pressed play. As he listened, his jaw dropped. No way. That bastard is actually in a girl's dorm this early in the morning. Leo furiously typed back. How did you get into a girl's dorm? Wyatt, they pulled me up. Leo, they pulled you up and you just went? Have you no shame? The jealousy was practically dripping from his words. Wyatt, shut up. I'm in a really tough spot right now. Leo, tough how? Wyatt, let's just say this is a high-pressure situation. Leo, you son of a bitch. Leo, you animal. Leo, you magnificent bastard. Leo, you are absolute scum. Isabel and her friends were true to their word. Exactly half an hour later, the 4 of them had finished getting ready, grabbed their purses, and were ready to go. Handsome, you stay here for a second, Isabel instructed. I'll go scout out the situation downstairs. Okay. Isabel ran down to the 1st floor and saw the dorm supervisor busy arguing with the water delivery guy. She quickly signaled for Wyatt and the others to come down, and they all hurried out of the building. Phew, that was close, Ashley said, breathing a sigh of relief. Wyatt smiled. So, what's the plan for today? We're following you, Isabel declared. Wherever you and Cece go, we go. Wyatt quickly came up with a plan. Disney is too far, and you've all probably been to the Empire State Building and the Brooklyn Bridge a million times. How about we go check out the Brooklyn Botanic Garden? We can walk around Dumbo afterward. Sounds good. The three roommates agreed in unison. The bus stop was only a few hundred feet away, but the subway station was over a mile. After a brief discussion, they decided on the subway. On the walk to the station, Wyatt played the role of the patient escort, letting the four roommates walk ahead, laughing and chatting among themselves, while he occasionally chimed in. When they got to the station, they regretted their decision. It was an absolute madhouse. Being a Saturday, it seemed half of New York had decided to go out. The platform was a sea of people, but they were already there, so they had no choice but to brave the crowd. When the train finally arrived, Wyatt saw the mass of people surging forward. "Stay close to me," he whispered to Cece. Cece hated crowded places and instinctively nodded. As the doors opened, Wyatt grabbed her wrist and deftly maneuvered them through the crowd, pulling her onto the train. Cece froze for a second, her face flushing, and let herself be led, like a deer in the headlights. There were no seats left, of course. Wyatt guided her to the small space between the end of the seats and the wall, effectively creating a protective corner for her. He stood in front, shielding her from the crush of the crowd. Isabel, Sophie, and Ashley had managed to squeeze on as well and were now standing beside them. Seeing how Wyatt had created a solid barrier around Cece, they were overcome with envy. "Wyatt, you can't keep being this cute in front of us," Isabel complained. "You're making us jealous." "Seriously," Ashley agreed. Wyatt laughed. "If you guys keep talking like that, Cece's going to turn red again." Cece's face was already beet red, partly from the stuffy heat of the subway car, and partly from her own racing heart. She kept her head down, pretending she couldn't hear their conversation. What she didn't notice was that Wyatt had just called her Cece again. The last time he'd done that, she had stomped on his foot. This time, she just blushed. In moments like these, a girl's blush speaks louder than any love poem. It was only 3 stops. 7 or 8 minutes later, they got off. Seeing the beads of sweat on Cece's forehead, Wyatt pulled a tissue from his pocket, one he'd snagged from the hotel, and reached out to wipe her face. Cece jerked her head to the side, dodging his hand. Isabel saw this and immediately stepped in front of Wyatt, batting her eyelashes. "Handsome, you can wipe my sweat if you want." Me ju. Ashley chimed in. Sophie, not quite as bold, just stood to the side, giggling. Cece, at a complete loss with her 2 shameless friends, snatched the tissue from Wyatt's hand, dabbed her own forehead, and marched out of the station. Wyatt gave Isabel and Ashley a thumbs up before hurrying after her. The walk from the subway station to the Botanic Garden took them past several large shopping complexes. It was a sight you only saw in a big city. Wyatt, who had never been to this part of Brooklyn before, followed Cece while using his phone for navigation. They finally arrived at the ticket booth. Adult tickets were $20, but student tickets were only $10. Wyatt bought 5, and they all walked into the garden. They strolled along stone paths, surrounded by gorgeous, historic glass conservatories and meticulously kept flower beds. A serene pond reflected the pavilions and weeping willows, like a living watercolor painting. Every step revealed a new, beautiful scene. The 3 roommates immediately went into photo shoot mode, with Wyatt becoming their designated photographer. Luckily, his skills were up to par, earning their unanimous approval. To get the photos from him, Isabel even added him directly to their dorm group chat. The area around the garden was full of shops, food stalls, and restaurants. For lunch, the 5 of them went to a famous, century-old noodle bar nearby. They each ordered a bowl of the signature tonkatsu ramen. The price wasn't much more expensive than a regular place, but the line to get in was incredibly long. When the ramen was finally served, Cece first took out a hair tie from her bag and expertly tied up her long, silky black hair. "Cece, I'm so jealous of your hair," Isabel said with a sigh. "It's so thick and straight, and you never seem to lose any. I shed a whole cat's worth every time I wash mine." Sophie nodded in agreement. Ashley leaned in with a mischievous look. "Wyatt, do you know what the ultimate silent flex is for a woman?" "What's that?" "No period pain, amazing circulation, hair for days, can eat anything without gaining weight, and an immune system of steel." Wyatt smirked. "And do you know what the ultimate silent flex is for a man?" "What?" "Making a silent woman not so silent." Cece, Sophie, Ashley, Isabel, Wyatt, you pig. Right now, in a restaurant at the Metro Center Plaza, Amber was having dinner with 2 of her old high school friends. The 3 of them had been inseparable, best friends, through and through. It was the same restaurant where Amber had her first dinner with her new college roommates. She was sitting in the exact same seat Wyatt had sat in, staring blankly into space. Her two friends had identical hairstyles, a sharp, blunt-cut bob with perfect bangs. It was probably a popular style back in their hometown. The one in the white sundress, Madison, noticed Amber's daze. "Amber, what are you thinking about?" she finally asked. "Nothing. Don't give me nothing. You've been spacing out since we sat down. Something's on your mind." The other friend, Olivia, jumped in with a sly grin. "You're not thinking about Nate, are you?" Nate was Amber's high school boyfriend. Technically, they hadn't broken up yet. But after graduation, Amber had come to NYC while Nate had gone to some tech school up in New England. With 1,000 miles between them, their relationship had slowly faded. Amber shook her head and smiled faintly. "We're going to break up sooner or later." "Break up?" Madison asked. "You don't like him anymore? But you two were so good together at high school." Everyone was jealous. Amber's tone was flat. "How many long-distance relationships actually work out? Besides, after starting college, I've realized I don't think I like him anymore." "Then you should just break up with him," Olivia said. "You've been ignoring him, right? Nate keeps texting me, asking what's going on with you." "I'm not going to be the one to do it," Amber said, quickly. "If I dump him right after starting college, it'll just make me look like a total jerk." Madison and Olivia exchanged a look, but said nothing. Amber continued, talking more to herself than to them. "If I just ignore him long enough, he'll eventually be the one to break up with me." "Okay, so if you're not thinking about Nate, what's on your mind?" "There's this guy in the business program at my school. He's just incredible, and I think I'm starting to have feelings for him. Are you going to go for it?" Amber sighed, a gesture far too weary for her age. "He already has a girlfriend. I'm trying to decide if I should just give up now or—" "No way, Amber. All those guys like you in high school, and you barely gave any of them the time of day. You get to college, and suddenly you're the one with a crush. You guys don't get it. He's really different from other guys." "How different? How do I explain it?" "He's handsome and a little bad, but he's also really ambitious and driven. The first time we met was right here in this restaurant. The second I saw him, my heart started pounding." Hearing this, Madison and Olivia grew even more curious about the boy she was describing. Amber was a catch herself. Guys from other high schools used to show up just to ask her out. For a guy to have this kind of effect on her, he had to be something special. That afternoon, Wyatt, Cece, and her roommates finished exploring the parts of the Brooklyn Botanic Garden they had missed, and even made a trip to the Dumbo waterfront. The girls were most interested in taking photos by the carousel, while Wyatt was more interested in the hot dog stand. After leaving the park, the group found a private room karaoke place in a nearby shopping center. As music students, they were all born performers, immediately grabbing microphones. Wyatt settled onto the couch to be the audience, but after they'd belted out 7 or 8 songs in a row, they suddenly shoved a microphone at him, demanding he sing. "You guys go ahead. I'm not going to embarrass myself in front of a bunch of pros. Come on. Just one song. Don't be so lame, you're the only guy here." Wyatt, out of excuses, took the microphone from Isabel. "What do you want me to sing?" Sophie smiled. "Why don't you and Cece sing a duet?" "No way," Cece shot back immediately. "Let him sing by himself." "All right, just pick whatever you want then." Wyatt was stumped. He had no idea what to choose, so he walked over to the console and started scrolling through the trending charts. 2014 had its share of hits. "Stay With Me" by Sam Smith, "Fancy" by Iggy Azalea, "Rude" by Magic, and of course Happy by Pharrell Williams and All of Me by John Legend were still dominating everything. But Wyatt wasn't feeling any of them. He ended up choosing a classic from 2010. The song was Marry You by Bruno Mars. As the iconic ukulele intro began, Isabel, Sophie, Ashley, and Cece all sat down in a row, their eyes fixed on Wyatt, waiting to judge his performance. "It's a beautiful night. We're looking for something dumb to do. Hey baby, I think I want to marry you." The song wasn't difficult, and Wyatt sang it with an effortless cool. His voice was a perfect fit for the track, and after just a few lines, Cece's 3 roommates were looking at him with the wide, adoring eyes of newfound fans. Cece knew Wyatt could sing, but her roommates had no idea. His performance took them completely by surprise. "Who cares, baby? I think I want to marry you." As the last sweet, romantic notes faded, the 3 roommates erupted in cheers and applause. Wyatt put down the microphone, glanced at the time, and said, all right, that's enough fun for one day. We've sung our hearts out. Let's go find a place to eat. Let's go." The 5 of them decided to find a place near campus. Juilliard was right in the heart of the city, surrounded by countless restaurants. A 20-minute cab ride later, they were walking into a multi-story shopping complex near the school. The restaurants were mostly on the 4th, 5th, and 6th floors. Just as they reached the elevator, ready to head up, "Isabel, A voice called out from behind them. Wyatt turned to see two guys about his age walking their way. Landon? Josh. Isabel frowned. What are you guys doing here? Grabbing dinner, the guy named Landon said. He was wearing sunglasses indoors, only taking them off when he got right in front of them. His eyes flickered over to Wyatt. And this is? Oh, he's Cecil's boyfriend. Then Isabel made the introductions. Wyatt, these are our classmates. Even though Landon tried to hide it, Wyatt saw a flash of jealousy in his eyes. He forced a smile and a nod, a silent greeting. Landon grinned. You guys are here for dinner too? Yeah. Why don't we eat together? Landon said magnanimously. My treat. Isabel wasn't sure and looked to her roommates, who in turn all looked at Wyatt. They'd known Landon for a while, but Wyatt had never met him or Josh. It was up to him. If Wyatt said no, he'd look petty, so he just nodded and smiled. I'm cool with it. Just then, the elevator doors opened. Wyatt casually took Cecil's hand and led her inside. Cece tried to pull her hand away, but after a couple of tugs, she realized his grip was tight. She looked up at him and found him looking down at her, his gaze more intense, more possessive than usual. Cece guessed what he was doing. She stopped trying to pull away, letting her hand rest in his, the warmth spreading from her palm straight to her heart. She even shuffled a little closer to him. Landon was clearly a guy who didn't worry about money. He was dressed head to toe in designer brands, an Omega watch strapped to his wrist. The pink short-sleeve button-down gave him the distinct air of a playboy. He led the group to a high-end restaurant and specifically requested a private room. Sit, make yourselves comfortable. He graciously motioned for everyone to take a seat, then confidently took the host chair at the head of the table. When a waiter came in with menus, hesitating over who to give them to, Landon snapped his fingers and gave a little wave. The waiter, getting the hint, handed the menus to him. Landon immediately passed one to Isabel. Ladies first, he said, showing off. After she had the menu, Landon turned his attention to Wyatt. You're Wyatt, right? Which school are you at? Fordham. Oh, I know that one. The business school, right? Heard their acceptance rate is tough for out-of-staters. But here in the city, it's kind of just another private school. If you hadn't come to NYC, you probably could have gotten into a better-ranked state university. Wyatt lifted his hand, still holding Cecil's. Couldn't be helped, he said with a smile. My girlfriend wanted to come to NYC, so I had to follow her. Seeing their tightly clasped hands, Landon's smile looked a little strained. He chuckled weakly. Fordham's a pretty long way from here, isn't it? It's manageable. It's like a 40-minute drive, though. I took the subway, Wyatt said with a smile. Landon's eyes widened. Doesn't that take over an hour? Yup. Isabel couldn't listen to this anymore. She quickly picked a few dishes and handed the menu back to Landon. I'm good. Landon took the menu. Anyone else want to order anything? We're good, the others said. Landon held the menu out to Wyatt. How about you? See anything you like? Nah, I'm good. It's your treat, you decide. Landon shrugged. All right then. He didn't hold back, adding a whole slew of expensive dishes to the order. Cece finally managed to pull her hand free. After being held for so long, her palm was sweaty. Wyatt leaned in, whispering, stay away from this guy from now on. I don't like him. Cece thought about what Wyatt had said the night before. She whispered back playfully, What? Are you jealous? Wyatt admitted it without a second's hesitation. Yeah. Cece froze. She hadn't expected him to be so direct. She looked down, nervously twisting the hem of her shirt, a wave of indescribable shyness washing over her. Truthfully, Cece disliked Landon even more than Wyatt did. He was the most pretentious guy in their class. They only ever saw each other in the classroom, and Cece had never once spoken to him. Seeing Wyatt and Cece whispering to each other, Landon was baffled. Cece was notoriously icy to everyone except her roommates. How was she so chatty with this Wyatt guy? The dishes started arriving, one by one. Wyatt acted as if nothing was wrong, digging in and constantly putting food on Cecil's plate. Cece knew he was putting on a show for Landon and Josh, so she played along, eating whatever he gave her. So what did you guys do today? The others started chatting amongst themselves. Wyatt pretended not to hear, staying out of their conversation. But Landon seemed determined to provoke him. Seeing Wyatt stay silent, he suddenly piped up, Wyatt, have you and Cece been dating for a long time? We have. So you guys were together in high school, then? You could say that, Wyatt said with a smile. Our parents are pretty open-minded. Her mom doesn't have a problem with us being together. Landon looked surprised. Your parents know about you too? Yeah. Is that a problem? Oh. Landon quickly shook his head. No, just asking. So what do your parents do? My dad's a low-level government employee. My mom works in a small company. Just normal jobs, Wyatt said. This seemed to be the opening Landon was waiting for. He immediately began his performance. Honestly, I envy a normal family like yours. My dad owns a company here in NYC, and my mom is the CFO. They're busy all year round. I only see them on holidays. And every time they call, it's just to ask if I need money. They never care about what I actually like or dislike. Josh played his part perfectly. Sounds pretty good to me. As long as you have money, what else matters? That's one way to look at it, but sometimes it feels a little empty. But hey, it's because my family isn't short on cash that I get to go to a music school. Otherwise, my parents would never have agreed to let me study music. Wyatt was getting tired of it. The guy's pretentious act was really grating. If Wyatt knew him better, he might have offered a piece of advice. Dude, this is not how you flex. But he had no relationship with Landon and wanted none, so he kept his mouth shut. But Landon kept going, his stories getting more and more absurd until it was practically a monologue. Wyatt couldn't take it anymore. He pulled his phone out from under the table, quietly opened his Venmo app, changed his setting, and then placed the phone face up on the table in front of him. In New York, making $1 million or $2 million a year isn't even that rich. My dad's company only cleared about $10 million last year. Landon was mid-sentence when Wyatt's phone pinged. A computerized voice announced, Venmo payment received, $23. No one paid any mind. Landon continued, but the economy's better this year, so we'll probably. Venmo payment received, $18. Venmo payment received, $21.50. Venmo payment received, $11. Evening was the busiest time for the market. Customers were constantly buying fruit, and the payment notifications were relentless. As all eyes turned to him, Wyatt offered an explanation. Oh, sorry about that. I opened a fresh market near campus. It must be busy right now. I'll turn the volume down. You guys continue. As I was saying, the economy is better this year, so we'll probably make a little more than last year. My dad. Venmo payment received, $9.50. Venmo payment received, $30. Venmo payment received, $14. Landon forced himself to continue. My dad is planning to expand the company next year. Venmo payment received, $52. Venmo payment received, $9. Bam! Landon suddenly slammed his hand on the table. What's wrong with you? Isabel asked. Landon's face was dark, a mask of frustration. Nothing. Just a mosquito. You guys eat. Venmo payment received, $8. Venmo payment received, $19. For the entire half hour they ate, Wyatt's phone never stopped. Landon, who had been holding a one-man TED Talk, fell completely silent. Wyatt's expression remained calm. He just kept eating, occasionally putting some food on Cece's plate. When he was full, he took a napkin from his lap, gently tapped Cece under the table, and gave her a look that said, play along. Let's finish this show. Cece hesitated for a moment, then decided to indulge the dork just this once. So, when Wyatt held the napkin up to her mouth, she let him gently wipe her lips. You fool, he asked softly. MHM. Wyatt stood up, took her hand, and turned to Landon. Hey, thanks for dinner tonight. We're gonna head out. Landon managed a stiff nod. He watched as the four girls followed Wyatt out of the room. The elevator doors opened, then closed. The second they shut, everyone inside burst out laughing. Wyatt, that was savage. Seriously, Landon's face was priceless. Wait, did you really open a market? Wyatt admitted it freely. Yeah, opened last week. That's why I couldn't come see you guys. Isabel chimed in immediately. You didn't come last week, and our Cece was a total mess in the dorm. She was thinking about you every single day. I was not. Cece blushed, quickly denying it. Oh, you so were, Isabel said with a wicked grin. The way you two were all lovey-dovey in that private room. You looked like an old married couple. Hearing something so embarrassing, Cece instantly regretted playing along with Wyatt. She shot him a fierce glare, but that didn't feel like enough. She reached over and gave his side a hard pinch. Wyatt didn't dare make a sound. The five of them left the complex and headed back to campus. Isabel, ever perceptive, said, Ashley, Sophie, let's go back to the dorm. We've been third-wheeling all day. It's time to let them have their alone time. Bye, handsome. Bye. As soon as Isabel, Ashley, and Sophie were gone, Cece turned to Wyatt, her expression mock ferocious. This is all your fault. Wyatt was shameless. Yep, all my fault. But if it happens again, I'd do the exact same thing. There won't be a next time. Next time, I'm definitely not letting you hold my hand. That won't be up to you. What did you say? Nothing. Go away. I don't want to talk to you right now. Cece turned her back on him. Wyatt circled around to face her again. I'm just surprised you understood my signal back there. I didn't think you'd play along. Cece pouted. You're dead if you tell anyone. Don't worry, my lips are sealed. We just ate. Want to go for a walk? Don't want to? Then I'll carry you. Cece huffed. and started walking ahead on her own. A smile tugged at Wyatt's lips as he hurried to catch up. Behind the conservatory's main concert hall at Juilliard was a small, wooded grove. It was a popular spot for students to take a stroll after dinner. Being a music school, you could often see students sitting on stone benches or on the grass, playing their instruments. As they ambled through, Wyatt spoke softly. "I'm heading back tomorrow afternoon. From now on, if I'm coming over, I'll let you know on Friday night." "Okay, I'm the class president, and I'm running a market at school. Once things get busy, I definitely won't be able to come every week. You can hang out with Isabel and the others on weekends, but it's better if you don't go out alone." "I wouldn't go out alone anyway," Cece said. "Well, if you really want to see me, just text me. I don't care what's going on. I'll drop everything and come." Cece didn't want to refuse, but she was too shy to agree, so she just stayed silent. After a long pause, she finally asked, "Is it really only a 40-minute drive from your school to here?" "Yeah, if there's no traffic." Wyatt was curious. "Why do you ask?" "Just asking." As the campus lampposts flickered on, Wyatt walked Cece to her dorm building, then headed back to his hotel alone. Back in her room, Cece sat at her desk, lost in thought for a while. Then she turned to her roommate. "Isabel, do you know how much it costs to buy a car?" Isabel answered casually, "Depends on what kind of car. You can get a cheap one for a few $1,000s. A decent one is probably around 15 or 20,000. A nice one is 30 or 40,000. Anything over 100 grand is basically a luxury car." Sophie was curious. "Why are you asking about that?" Isabel echoed her. "Yeah, why do you ask?" "No reason." Cece shook her head. She pulled out her phone and checked her bank account. Seeing she only had a few $1,000s, she mentally calculated how long it would take to save up 20,000. Even if she saved every penny of her allowance, it would take years. Cece felt a pang of disappointment. Her father, Charles, was feeling something much worse. As a father, he wanted to know more than anyone how his daughter was doing at school. Was she eating well? Was she getting used to the dorm? Were her classmates nice? But every time Charles asked Cece, he got the same one-word answers. "Fine." "Okay. It's good." Or he got no reply at all. Today, Charles finally snapped. After getting off work from the bank, he drove straight to Maple Creek Estates and rang the doorbell. Half a minute later, Miranda opened the door. Seeing Charles standing there, her voice was cold. "What are you doing here?" "Miranda, how is your daughter really doing at school? Every time I text her, all I get back is Carol. Do you have any idea how worried I am?" "Don't worry," Miranda said. "She's doing very well at school." "How would you know?" "She's my daughter." "Oh, cut the crap," Charles shot back. "Cece treats both of us the same. You think she's telling you any more than she's telling me?" "She doesn't tell me," Miranda said coolly, "but someone else does. I know her 3 roommates are named Isabel, Ashley, and Sophie." "Do you?" "I know her first weekend after that boot camp. She went to the Brooklyn Bridge and the Empire State Building." "Do you?" "And I know that today she went to the Brooklyn Botanic Garden and the Dumbo waterfront." "Do you?" "Who told you?" Charles demanded, his voice rising. "Don't tell me it was that Wyatt kid." Miranda smiled. "It was." Miranda, what are you thinking? It's one thing for Cece to be naive, but you? Can you really trust that kid? He can't be trusted, but you can. Charles was speechless. Miranda leaned back against the sofa, crossing her legs, a smirk on her face. "I'll be honest with you. I think this Wyatt kid is great. He's better than most of the boys I've ever met. And I'm just saying if, Cece starts to like him, I will approve of them being together." You've lost your mind." Just as Charles finished speaking, Miranda's phone rang. It was Cece. Miranda held the phone up for Charles to see. He immediately shut his mouth and sat down beside her. "Hello, Cece. I'm running out of money for the month." Miranda paused, frowning. "Isn't 5,000 a month enough?" Cece was silent. "Is there something you want to buy?" Miranda asked. "You can tell me, and I can buy it for you. I want to buy a car." "A what?" Cece seemed to realize she'd let something slip and quickly hung up the phone. Charles and Miranda were stunned. "A car? What car?" Cece didn't even have a driver's license. What would she do with a car? They sat in silence for a moment before Miranda's eyes widened. "It couldn't be. She wants to buy a car for Wyatt, doesn't she?" "What are you talking about? My daughter isn't some lovesick fool." But what? "But at the beginning of the month, she had me buy 2 new iPhones. She gave one of them to Wyatt." "She what?" Charles exploded. "It's bad enough he's not spending money on my daughter, but he's having my daughter spend money on him?" Miranda ignored him and sent a text to Wyatt. "Miranda, Wyatt, are you there? Wyatt just got back to the hotel. What's up?" "Miranda, Cece just called me and said she wants to buy a car. Do you know anything about this?" "Wyatt, a car?" "Miranda, you don't know?" "Wyatt, no, I have no idea." "Wyatt, oh, No wonder she was asking me how long the drive is from my school to hers. So that's why. Wyatt, don't listen to her, Miranda. I'll buy my own car when I've earned enough money. Miranda, how long does it take you to get to Sesay's school by subway? Wyatt, an hour and a half. Miranda, and by car? Wyatt, 40 minutes. Wyatt, Miranda, the distance isn't a problem. I've already started a market at my school, and business is pretty good. Once I've saved up enough, I'll buy myself a car. Miranda, okay, I understand. Get some rest. Wyatt, you too. Charles's face was contorted with rage. So Cece really was going to buy him a car? MHM, what kind of spell has this kid cast on our daughter? Are you done? Have you eaten? No. Wait here. I'll make something. Don't bother. I'll just have whatever you have for dinner. Miranda ignored him, walked into the kitchen, and fried up a plate of limp, boiled potatoes with an obscene amount of parsley for her ex-husband. 5 minutes later, the dish was ready. Charles, making himself at home, got a bowl of rice and sat down at the table. He took a bite of the potatoes. His face immediately changed. Miranda's voice was ice cold. You will finish every last bite of what I cooked. Otherwise, don't bother showing up here every few days. Charles had no words, only misery. The next day at noon, Wyatt and Cece were having lunch together. After some light gossip, Wyatt got straight to the point. Did you talk to your mom about buying a car last night? Cece froze. I was just talking nonsense, she said quickly, her voice low. Don't fill that little head of yours with these ideas, Wyatt said. These aren't things you need to worry about. You have to think about it from your parents' perspective. We've only known each other for a short time. The phone was already a huge gift. Even if you did buy a car, I wouldn't accept it. Cece looked down, mumbling defensively. I never said it was for you. Then what do you need a car for? You don't even have a license. So you can be my driver, obviously. A smile spread across Wyatt's face. No need to rush. We have plenty of time. After this week, we have fall break. Are you planning on going home? Cece didn't know how to answer. Wyatt grinned. You want to ask if I'm going home, don't you? If I go, you'll go. If I don't, you won't. Cece wrinkled her nose. If you knew, why'd you ask? Then let's go back together, Wyatt said. I didn't bring any of my winter clothes with me, and it's going to start getting cold after October. I'll buy the tickets there and back. We don't have class on the afternoon of the 30th, so I'll come get you then. Oh, Cece didn't have much of an appetite and stopped after eating half her bowl. Seeing that Wyatt still looked hungry, she glanced around. When she was sure no one was watching, she quickly moved the uneaten pork ribs from her bowl to his, then immediately looked down and pretended to be busy with her phone. Wyatt got back to campus at 3:30 in the afternoon. His 3 roommates and Valerie were all at the market. Well, look who it is. The big boss finally returns. You look exhausted after just 2 days away. Did someone drain you dry? Shut up, Wyatt shot back, rolling his eyes. You try sitting on a train for an hour and a half and see how you feel. Chris got down to business. Looks like Corner Organics can't hold out much longer. They just changed their sale. The 30% off is now 20% off, and they canceled the spend 50, get 5 off deal. I told you a price war only hurts everyone, Wyatt said. They were never going to beat our sales. But starting this week, they'll probably try to copy our marketing methods. While we expand our customer base, we also need to get our existing customers into a habit of buying from us. How do we do that? We need to be more active in the group chat. Send out little cash rewards on Venmo every now and then increase engagement. That's a job for you, Chris said with a grin. You're the celebrity now. Wyatt nodded. I'll handle that. You guys just focus on deliveries. At 9 that evening, Valerie headed back to her dorm. Sam took over her shift, while Chris and Alex zipped around on their electric scooters, making deliveries. It wasn't until 10:40 that Wyatt finally pulled down the rolling gate and headed back to the dorm with his 3 roommates. The next morning before class started, his advisor, Ms. Sutton, called him into her office. She handed him a form and got straight to the point. 2 things. After this week is fall break. I need you to get a list of everyone in the class who's going home and have them fill out how they're traveling. I'll email you the digital version of the form later. Okay, I'll have it done by 6 this evening. There's no rush, just get to me by Friday. The second thing is collecting class fees. $50 from each person. The money will be used for future class activities. If there's any left over, we won't collect any next year. Make that clear to the students. Got it. All right, class is about to start. You can go back now. Wyatt nodded and returned to the classroom. Before the professor arrived, he walked up to the front and tapped the lectern. Everyone, quiet down for a second. I have 2 announcements. First, I need everyone to fill out a form about your plans for fall break. If you've already bought your tickets, please include the train or bus number. If you're not going home, just write that. But everyone, please be safe during the break. Second, we're collecting class fees. The advisor said we're collecting $50 from everyone for now. The money will be used for class activities. If there's any left over, we won't collect any next year. Make that clear to the students. Everyone get that? A chorus of got it echoed through the room. Wyatt saw that Sam hadn't said anything. He walked down from the front and whispered to him, "Don't worry about yours. I'll just take out of your paycheck. Is that okay?" Sam nodded in agreement. Wyatt smiled, walked back to his seat in the last row, and quietly pulled out his phone to text Cece. "Wyatt, I dreamed about you last night." In another classroom across the city, Cece saw the message. Her mind immediately began to drift. After the first class ended in a blur, she quickly texted back. "Cece, what did you dream about?" "Wyatt, guess." Cece's cheeks flushed. The second class passed in a haze of daydreams. "Cece, you're not allowed to text me during class anymore." "Wyatt." "Why not?" "Cece, just because." "Wyatt." Okay, I get it. But I really did dream about you last night." "Cece, I'm not talking to you anymore, Cece." "Oomph." Walking to the cafeteria, Wyatt saw Cece's last messages and couldn't help but laugh out loud. Alex heard him and turned. "Wyatt, you have a seriously creepy laugh. You look creepy even when you're not laughing." "Screw you, man." After lunch, Wyatt, Chris, and Alex headed back to the dorm. Sam went to the market. The afternoon shift was never too busy. Sam and Valerie could handle it. Since Wyatt hadn't bought a laptop yet, he commandeered Chris's desk and started filling out the fall break travel form. After that was done, he began tallying the class fees. Besides Sam, most of the students in their program came from well-off families. Many of their parents worked in finance, which was why their kids were studying it. Students like Sam were the exception. Wyatt counted the total and saw that everyone had paid. He climbed onto his top bunk for a nap. Before his afternoon class, Wyatt found Ms. Sutton and handed her the collected fees and the completed form. She was surprised by his efficiency. She handed $50 back to him. "The brooms and trash cans in the classroom are pretty worn out. Use this $50 to buy some new ones." Then she handed him another $500. "You hold on to this $500. If the class needs anything, you can use your judgment. But every expense has to be transparent and accounted for." "Understood." Wyatt went back to class. After the first lecture, he found Ethan. Ethan was confused. "What's up?" Wyatt handed him the $50. "This is from the class fund." Ethan was speechless. "It's class money. Why are you giving it to me?" "The brooms and trash cans in the classroom are shot. Use this to buy some new ones. You know I'm busy. You're the vice president. Think of it as doing something for the class." Ethan seemed to scoff at the small amount. "We need to use class fund for this?" he muttered. "Business is business. Just take the money." "I don't need it." "No, listen to me." Wyatt stepped closer and put a hand on Ethan's shoulder, lowering his voice. "If you don't take this money, how am I supposed to take my cut? If I don't take my cut, how is the advisor supposed to get hers? And if none of us do that, how are you and I ever supposed to get ahead?" Wyatt shoved the $50 into Ethan's hand. "I'm counting on you." Ethan stared at the $50 bill in his hand, his head spinning. The second class dragged on even slower than the first. The moment the bell rang, the students were ready to bolt. But just as the professor left, a group of people in suits appeared at the classroom door. A familiar figure walked in. "Who's the president of this class?" Wyatt recognized him. It was Trevor, the upperclassman from Amber's high school, now the head of the student government's arts committee. Wyatt stepped forward. "I am. Can I help you?" "So you're the president. We'd like to promote the student government to your class. It'll only take 10 minutes, tops. Can you ask your classmates to stay seated for a bit?" Wyatt had no reason to refuse, so he nodded. He went to the front of the class, calmed everyone down, and let the student government members take the stage to give their presentation. The more prestigious the university, the more powerful the student government. At places like Harvard and Yale, the student presidents were major figures. But at a school like Fordham, once you stepped off campus, no one cared who you were. Wyatt had zero interest in student government. Becoming class president was an accident. He had no desire to get mixed up in that scene. After the presentation, as his classmates filed out, Wyatt was about to head to the market when Trevor caught up to him again. "Wyatt, wait up. Is there something else? Are you interested in joining the student government?" Wyatt quickly came up with an excuse. "Trevor, you know I'm the president for the business program's freshman class. Plus I'm running a market on the food truck strip. I just don't have the time, so..." Trevor didn't give up. "A guy like you, if you join now, you could easily be a vice director by your sophomore year. Are you sure you don't want to reconsider?" "Sorry, I really don't have the time." "All right then. I won't force you. See you around." "See ya." Watching Trevor walk away, Wyatt scoffed to himself. Give up being a CEO to bust my ass and become some vice director by sophomore year? Who the hell does he think he's talking to? The week flew by. In the blink of an eye, it was the 30th. After his morning class, Wyatt called Leo to arrange meeting up that evening to take the train home together. After hanging up, Wyatt and Chris, each on an electric scooter with Alex and Sam riding on the back, went to the market. They helped unload a fresh shipment of fruit that had just arrived. Before heading back to the dorm to pack, Wyatt pulled Sam aside. "Sam, I'll send you your pay for the last 2 weeks on Venmo in a bit. Tomorrow is the start of fall break. So, for the next 7 days, I'm paying you double time." Sam quickly protested. "You don't have to do that. I'm not going home anyway. Just listen to me. Full-time workers get triple pay on holidays." Seeing Wyatt's firm attitude, Sam didn't argue further. After sorting out a few more things, Wyatt rushed back to the dorm to pack. He didn't have much: a few changes of clothes, his wallet, a phone charger. Once he was packed, he set off for Manhattan. He met up with Cece without a hitch, and the two of them went to Penn Station to meet Leo. Leo spotted Wyatt and Cece from a distance. Seeing them laughing and talking together, then thinking about his own single status, he suddenly felt like his college life was a complete failure. "Leo, my man, what took you so long?" "I had to go pick up Cece." "Come on, they're probably about to start boarding." The three of them got their tickets and went through the gate. They didn't have to wait long before boarding the Amtrak train. Remembering his advisor's instructions, Wyatt opened his class GroupMe and tagged everyone. "Wyatt at everyone, when you get home, please post a message in the chat to let us know you arrived safely. Be careful over the break, and don't fall for any scams. Wyatt, everyone, please repeat the class rules after me. Wyatt 1, don't gamble your tuition away. Wyatt 2, don't do anything that'll get you arrested. Wyatt 3, hot goss is always welcome. Hannah, Mark, Olivia, Ms. Sutton, Wyatt." As usual, the moment Cece got on the train, she closed her eyes to sleep. Wyatt, sitting in the middle, scrolled through stock market news. Seeing that his portfolio was up over 50%, he transferred all the profits from the market into his brokerage account and bought shares in a new company. Leo played a few rounds of Temple Run, got bored, and put his phone down. He turned to Wyatt. "Hey, Wyatt, can I ask you a question? If, and I'm just saying if, I met a girl I really liked, how should I go about asking her out?" Leo was well aware of his own limitations by now. He knew his emotional intelligence was leagues below Wyatt's, and his tone was one of sincere supplication. Wyatt answered just as seriously. "Don't rush into a relationship." "Why not? Check out her friends first. One of them might be hotter." Leo took a deep breath. "I'm being serious here." Wyatt's tone changed. "Okay, for real. If you meet someone you like, you really shouldn't rush to pursue her. You need to try and understand her first." "Understand what?" "You at least need to know what kind of person she is, what her personality is like, what her hobbies are, if she's emotionally stable. And most importantly, you need to know if she plays games. She might seem like a sweet, innocent girl to you, but she could be a completely different person behind your back." Leo felt there was some truth to this. "And after I understand all that, then you can start pursuing her. There are a lot of ways to win a girl over. A guy like me can adapt to any situation, but a doofus like you could never pull that off. So for you, there's one simple method." "What's that?" "Sincerity." "Sincerity?" Wyatt nodded. "That's right. Sincerity is always the ultimate weapon. If she has even the slightest interest in you, as long as you're sincere enough, she might give you a chance. But if you've been completely sincere and she still gives you nothing, then I suggest you just give up." Leo processed this for a moment. "So how do I show my sincerity?" "First, be honest. Be who you are. Don't lie or pretend to be someone you're not just to make a good impression. Second, learn to listen and care. Provide her with everything she needs. And finally, take action. Empty words are useless. You have to follow through on what you say." At this, Wyatt remembered Leo's disastrous marriage from his past life. He added one more thing. "Also, if you fall for a girl, and it just so happens her name is Taylor, then whatever you do, don't pursue her. And definitely don't get into a relationship with her." Huh. Leo was completely lost. "What does that mean?" Wyatt's expression was full of deep meaning. "I ran the numbers for you. If you marry a woman named Taylor, you're going to have a very public, very nasty song written about you the following year." Leo rolled his eyes and flipped Wyatt the middle finger. It was 11 at night when the train finally pulled into the station. Wyatt had already texted Miranda. As they walked out of the station, he immediately spotted her Lexus minivan. Wyatt led Cece to the car. After she got in, he and Leo were about to call a cab, but Miranda waved them over. "You two get in. It's late. I'll just drive you home." "That would be great. Thank you, Miranda." "It's no trouble." Wyatt gave Leo a look, and they both got in the car. Miranda knew where Wyatt lived and drove straight to his neighborhood. About 20 minutes later, the car stopped at the entrance to his subdivision. Wyatt and Leo got out. Miranda rolled down the window and smiled at Wyatt. "Wyatt, come visit sometime. I will. Thanks, Miranda. Even though Cece hadn't called Miranda mom, Leo could tell they were mother and daughter. He was already jealous that Wyatt and Cece were dating. Now, seeing Wyatt chatting so casually with Cece's mom, he was even more envious. I haven't even found a girlfriend yet, and this bastard has already won over his future mother-in-law. Leo, let's chill at home tomorrow and hang out the day after, Wyatt said. Sound good. The two went their separate ways. Wyatt, with his single-strap backpack, walked the familiar path to his front door. He knocked, and a rustling sound came from inside. After a moment, the door opened a crack. His dad, David, peeked out, his expression surprised. Son, what are you doing back so late? What took you so long to open the door? Were you and Mom trying to make me a little brother or something? You haven't even finished raising your main character. Don't start grinding a new alt. You little brat. Watch your mouth, came Sarah's voice from the bedroom. David, who is it? Your darling baby boy is home. A few seconds later, Sarah emerged from the bedroom, slipping on her shoes. Seeing Wyatt, she scolded him with a smile. Why didn't you tell us you were coming home today? She walked over to him, her voice full of concern. Have you eaten? Not yet. Go take a shower. I'll make you a bowl of noodles. Okay. Wyatt went into the bathroom for a hot shower. By the time he came out, Sarah had already cooked the noodles. David, go get the sesame oil and bring your son his noodles. He doesn't have hands. Just do it. David had long ago accepted that his son's status in his wife's heart had surpassed his own. Not that he minded. They were an old married couple, and one day they'd be relying on their son to take care of them. They often regretted not having another child, so their son's burden wouldn't be so heavy later on. There were so many single children these days. If their son married another single child, the young couple would be responsible for 4 elderly parents. Whenever they talked about it, Sarah would always say, when we get old, we'll just go to a nursing home together. We won't be a burden to our son. The love of parents from that generation was always so selfless. David placed a bowl of noodles in front of Wyatt and handed him the chopsticks. Eat up while it's hot. Go to bed right after. Dad, can't you be a little more polite to the class president? President? What president? Me. David's brow furrowed. You're the class president at college? MHM. Get out of here. I know what you're made of, you little punk. There's no way you're a class president. Wyatt pulled out his phone, opened the class group me, and handed it to his dad. Sarah scurried over to look. In the chat, people were still tagging Wyatt to let him know they'd arrived home safely. The couple scrolled through the messages, completely dumbfounded. Son, how did you become class president? I don't know. It was a vote. I got over 40 votes. I had to take it even if I didn't want to. The couple exchanged a smile. Nothing more needed to be said. Just as Wyatt picked up his chopsticks to eat, Sarah suddenly asked, Son, where did this iPhone come from? Wyatt blurted out, My girlfriend gave it to me. Girlfriend. David and Sarah froze. Wyatt, who had just lifted a mouthful of noodles, froze too. He quickly tried to backtrack. No, Before he could explain, Sarah cut him off. Finish eating and put your bowl in the sink. Oh, okay. Sarah pulled David back into their bedroom. The two of them whispered on the bed. Aren't you going to ask for details about the kid's business? Why ask so many questions? He's in college now, let him be. But it's only been a month of school. How does he have a girlfriend already? Who said he met her at college? He didn't. All right, stop asking so many questions. I hope he dates early, gets married right after graduation, and then I can quit my job and take care of my grandkids. Shouldn't we at least ask what the girl's family does? Go to sleep. Stop nagging. Wyatt quickly finished his noodles, went to his room, and flopped onto his bed. He pulled out his phone and texted Cece. Wyatt, you home? Cece, I am. Wyatt, get some sleep then. Cece, what are you doing tomorrow? Wyatt, there's a comedy that just came out for the holiday weekend. Want to see it tomorrow afternoon? Cece, Cece, you come get me. Wyatt, deal. Wyatt, good night. Cece, good night. In the villa at Maple Creek Estates, Miranda waited until Cece put her phone down before she dared to ask, Cece, do you want me to make you some wontons? Cece stood up. I'm going to take a shower first. Okay, I can bring the wontons upstairs for you later, or you can come down. I'll come down. Okay. Watching Cece go upstairs, a faint smile appeared on Miranda's face. She felt like her daughter had changed, just a little, since coming home. The first day of fall break, Wyatt slept until past 10 in the morning. Sarah and David didn't wake him. After getting up and eating a bowl of Sarah's homemade dumplings, Wyatt rushed out the door. Where's your son? He left. Where'd he go? He's a grown man. Why would I know where he's going? Wyatt hailed a cab straight to Maple Creek Estates. After getting out at the community gate, he was about to call Cece to let him in when the security guard walked out. You're Wyatt, right? You can go in. The resident already called ahead. Thanks. Wyatt walked the familiar path to the front door. He rang the bell twice, and the door clicked open automatically. He stepped inside as Miranda came to the door with a pair of slippers for him. She led him into the living room. "Cece, Wyatt's here," Miranda called upstairs. A moment later, Cece appeared at the top of the stairs. If Miranda wasn't there, she would have stayed downstairs with Wyatt. But now, she hesitated for a moment before saying softly, "Come up." Wyatt glanced at Miranda. Seeing her nod, he headed up the stairs. He had been to the house several times, but this was his first time upstairs. He followed Cece to her bedroom door. The moment she opened it, a faint, unique scent, the scent of a girl's private space, wafted out. It was lovely, not cloying like perfume. It was as if Cece's own natural scent had been amplified. Wyatt couldn't help but say, "Smells nice." Cece spent most of her time at home in her room, so she couldn't smell anything. But hearing Wyatt's comment, her heart started to flutter again. "Don't be weird, there's no smell." Wyatt gave a sheepish smile and followed her into the room. It was huge, connected to a walk-in closet and a bathroom. A large sliding glass door opened onto a spacious terrace. Wyatt walked right out onto it. Under a large sun umbrella were 2 lounge chairs. Besides Cece, Miranda would sometimes sit out here to enjoy the sun and the evening breeze. Wyatt sat down in one of the chairs. The view was exceptional. Cece sat down beside him. Downstairs, Miranda waited for a bit before going to the kitchen. She washed and cut up some fruit, arranged it on a platter, and carefully carried it upstairs. She stood at the door, pressing her ear against it, but she couldn't hear anything from inside. Frowning, she carefully pushed the door open a crack. A cross breeze swept through, making the sheer curtains dance. Miranda saw Wyatt and Cece sitting on the terrace. Only then did she push the door fully open and walk out. "I cut up some fruit for you." "Thanks, Miranda." "Wyatt, why don't you stay for lunch?" "Oh, I wouldn't want to impose." Cece uncharacteristically retorted, "You feel bad about imposing?" Wyatt was speechless. "Can you not always expose me like that? I have a reputation to maintain." "Huh." Miranda laughed. "Then it's settled. I'll go cook. I'll call you when it's ready." "Okay. Thanks, Miranda." After Miranda left, Wyatt turned to Cece with a grin. "I think your mom likes me more and more. Do you think she's falling for me?" Cece looked at him like he was an idiot. Wyatt gave up and pulled out his phone, scrolling through his social media feed. Plenty of people were traveling for the break. Their posts made it clear that every tourist spot was packed. For rich people, travel was a vacation. For everyone else, it was an ordeal. For now, at least, Wyatt had no desire to go sightseeing. He switched back to his messaging app. Cece's dorm group chat was buzzing with activity. He clicked on it. "Ashley, it's just me and Sophie in the dorm. We're so lonely." "Sophie, so bored." "Isabel, hey, no thirst trapping in the group chat. Don't forget there's a man present." "Ashley, it's fine, he's already spoken for." "Sophie, I wonder what Cece is doing right now." "Wyatt, she's sunbathing at home." "Sophie, how do you know?" "Wyatt, because I'm right next to her." "Sophie, Isabel." "Ashley, Isabel, you went to Cece's house?" "Wyatt, yep, waiting for her mom to cook for me right now." "Cece, he's lying." "Cece, don't listen to him." "Isabel, Wyatt, you're a legend. I want to give you a standing ovation." "Isabel, but when you and Cece are together, please keep it PG. You too." "Ashley, yeah, keep it PG." "Sophie, please keep it PG." Downstairs, Charles had heard last night that his daughter was home for the break. As soon as he got off work at noon, he drove straight over. He pushed open the front door and heard the sound of cooking from the kitchen. He walked over. "Miranda, where's Cece?" Perfect timing. Miranda plated a dish and said to him, "Go upstairs and call them down for lunch." Charles started to move, then stopped dead. "Them. Wyatt is upstairs, too." Charles's jaw dropped. "That little bastard is here again." In the end, it was Miranda who called Wyatt and Cece downstairs. "If you ever talk nonsense in the group chat again, I'm going to have Isabel kick you out," Cece hissed. "I wasn't talking nonsense. Your roommates were the ones talking nonsense. You started it." Yes, it's my fault again. It always is." They came down the stairs, laughing and bickering. Charles happened to see this exact moment. When Cece saw her father, the smile on her face froze and then vanished instantly. Wyatt knew Charles had a major problem with him, but he didn't care one bit. Cece lived with Miranda, and her parents were divorced. As long as Miranda and Cece didn't mind him, Charles's opinion was irrelevant. "Wyatt, wash your hands. It's time to eat." "Okay." The four of them sat at the dining table. Miranda and Charles were on one side, Wyatt and Cece on the other. After getting his bowl of rice, Wyatt started eating in silence. The last time he'd eaten here, he'd been a little nervous. This time, he was as calm as could be. "Miranda, this sweet and sour pork is delicious, and this soup is so fresh." This braised pork isn't greasy at all. You must have cooked it for a long time. Miranda beamed. MHM, I put a whole beer in there and let the sauce reduce right into the meat. Wyatt, do you know how to cook? A little, but I'm definitely no match for you. Well then, eat up. We're all small eaters in this house. I will. Watching his ex-wife get so happy after a couple of compliments, Charles felt a flicker of contempt for Miranda. And another thing, why was it that when he came over alone, he got limp potatoes, but when this little bastard came, it was sweet and sour pork, braised pork, and a whole sea-based soup? I'm your ex-husband, for crying out loud. What is he? Miranda noticed her ex-husband's glare. What are you looking at me for? If you're not going to eat, then get out. Charles took a deep breath and silently shoveled rice into his mouth. Miranda saw that Cece had barely touched her food. She picked up her chopsticks and put a few pieces of pork and 2 pieces of the braised pork into Cece's bowl. Cece never liked fatty meat like that. She put down her bowl and, out of pure habit, moved the braised pork from her bowl into Wyatt's. Wyatt, without missing a beat, immediately ate the pieces of pork. Their movements were so fluid and natural, it was clear this wasn't the first time. Wyatt didn't think anything of it, but Charles and Miranda were thunderstruck. Cece seemed to realize what she'd done. Her face turned crimson. She quickly looked down at her bowl and pretended nothing had happened. After Wyatt finished eating, Cece quickly held her hand out to her mother. Mom, can I have the car keys? Miranda handed them to her, and Cece immediately passed them to Wyatt. Let's go. Wait, I just ate. Can you let me digest for a second? Are you coming or not? Cece stared at him, a hint of a threat in her voice. Going. Before leaving, Wyatt remembered to say to Miranda, Don't worry, Miranda. I'll have Cece home by 7 tonight. Drive safe. We will. Wyatt and Cece quickly drove away. Miranda started clearing the table. Charles sat fuming in his chair. Miranda had noticed, but she deliberately ignored him. Only after she had loaded the dishwasher and wiped the table clean did Charles finally break. Are they dating already? I don't know. You don't know? Miranda, did you not see how she's around him? Is she ever that talkative with us? Does she ever give us food she doesn't want? And most importantly, your daughter was blushing. I saw. And what's wrong with that? She's happy when she's with Wyatt. That's enough. I can already see a change in Cece since she started college. It's a good thing. I don't like this Wyatt. Your daughter likes him. That's all that matters. Who cares if you like him? You. The two of them went to the theater to see the weekend's big release, Neighbors, starring Seth Rogen and Zac Efron. It was a classic raunchy college comedy. If Wyatt remembered correctly, the movie had been a massive box office hit that year. Watching it again wasn't particularly interesting for him, but Cece was completely absorbed. Since Wyatt wasn't into the movie, his attention was focused elsewhere. He played on his phone, drank his soda, ate popcorn, and snuck glances at Cece's smooth, long legs. Time passed quickly. It was only a little after 3 when they left the theater. Wyatt checked the time. What do you want to do now? Cece shook her head, indicating she had no ideas. Want to go find a coffee shop and sit for a while? Cece shook her head, indicating she had no ideas. Want to go find a coffee shop and sit for a while? It's so crowded today. Wyatt walked over to the glass railing and looked down at the coffee shop on the floor below. It was swarming with people. He dismissed the idea. Seeing Cece find a bench to sit on, Wyatt, with no better plan, sat down next to her. They sat in silence for a long time. Suddenly, Cece said, Haven't you had enough yet? Wyatt felt a pang of guilt. Enough. Enough of what? Cece glared at him. You were staring at my legs the entire movie, and you're still staring now. Wyatt decided to just own it. So, you noticed? You're so shameless. Looking doesn't hurt anyone, Wyatt said with a grin. It's not like I touched them. Cece huffed. From now on, I'm never wearing a skirt when I go out with you. I don't have a problem with that. You look good in anything. Is that a line you use on everyone? Of course not. I don't believe you. Wyatt took Cece's hand and placed it over his heart. Ask me that question again. If my heart speeds up, it means I'm lying. If it doesn't, I'm telling the truth. The moment her small hand touched his chest, she could feel the strong, steady beat of his heart. She was about to pull her hand away when Wyatt suddenly said, Hey, high school classmate. Around the corner of the hallway, Jenna was hiding, secretly taking pictures of Wyatt with her phone. Wyatt had only spotted her by chance when he turned his head. Seeing her duck out of sight, Wyatt decided to pretend he hadn't seen her. That girl who's hiding around the corner and taking pictures of us is a classmate of mine from high school, he whispered to Cece. Don't look over there, or she'll know we saw her. There was this girl in high school who had a thing for me. The one taking pictures is her best friend. Can you do me a favor and play along with me one more time? Play what? Play my girlfriend. Wyatt didn't give Cece time to answer. He just stood up, took her hand, and started walking toward the escalator. Cece felt like she'd been tricked again, and she realized a very serious problem. Every other time Wyatt had tried to hold her hand, her first instinct was to pull away. But just now, when he pressed her hand against his chest, she hadn't felt any desire to resist at all. Oh no, could it be that Cece bit her lip, her face flushed with a shy heat. As they rode the escalator down, Cece pretended to casually glance behind her. She had half expected it to be one of Wyatt's tricks, but she really did see a girl trailing them, trying to be sneaky. He still has high school girls crushing on him after graduation. Cece looked at Wyatt's profile and thought to herself, a big troublemaker like him. He probably has a lot of girls who like him at school. Wyatt led Cece to the ground floor and straight into a Target. Jenna, seeing this, hurried to follow. How about we buy some snacks to take home? I don't really eat snacks. Then I'll buy some to give to Riley tomorrow. How much longer do we have to hold hands? To be honest, I don't really want to let go. You said we were just acting. What's the big deal about holding hands? Do you hate me that much? Yes, a lot. When a girl says she hates you, it usually means she likes you. And what if I say I like you? Then it means you're an honest person. Oomph. I knew you'd say that. As they whispered back and forth, about 15 feet away, Jenna hid behind a shelf, snapping several more pictures of Wyatt and Cece together. Wyatt grabbed some snacks and then led Cece to the produce section. He compared the prices and found that the fruit at Target wasn't much cheaper than at his own market. He just bought a few oranges. By the time Wyatt got to the checkout line, Jenna was gone. But Wyatt didn't tell Cece that. After paying, he continued to hold her soft, delicate hand as they walked toward the mall's underground parking garage. Can you let go of my hand now? I can. Then why haven't you? It feels too good. I don't want to. Cece yanked her hand back and warned him with a fierce look. Don't you dare contact me tonight. I'm definitely not going to answer. Your chariot awaits, my lady. Cece shot him a withering look before obediently getting into the passenger seat. Meanwhile, still inside the mall, Jenna had found a place to sit down. She picked out a few of the best pictures she had taken and sent them to Chloe. Jenna. Chloe, you there? Jenna. I just ran into Wyatt at the mall. Jenna. I think he really has a girlfriend now. Jenna. Image Jenna. Image Jenna. Image. Chloe had just gotten home that afternoon. She was resting in bed when she received Jenna's messages. She lazily picked up her phone to look. She wasn't really in the mood to deal with Jenna, but when she opened her messages and saw the photos, Chloe froze. In the pictures, Wyatt and another girl were smiling, their body language intimate. And most importantly, they were holding hands. They looked every bit the happy couple. Chloe wasn't surprised that Wyatt had found a new girlfriend. He was a good-looking guy, after all, but she hadn't expected his new girlfriend to be so beautiful. The girl's looks were enough to make even Chloe, who was considered the campus queen, feel a pang of jealousy. For another girl to make her feel that way, she had to be stunning. Chloe suddenly found it hard to accept. She had planned on finding a boyfriend in college who was better than Wyatt in every way. But now, she hadn't even found a prospect, and Wyatt had already found a girlfriend who was even prettier than she was. The gap between her expectations and reality was a bitter pill to swallow. She felt an urge to cry. She even started to wonder if she had said yes to Wyatt back in high school, would she have been the one in those pictures standing next to him? The more she thought, the sadder she became. Unable to accept this new reality, she opened her chat with Wyatt. She hesitated for a long time before typing out a question she already knew the answer to. Chloe, Wyatt, who was that with you at Target buying tangerines? Wyatt was driving and had no time to deal with her. It wasn't until he had safely dropped Cece off at home, said a quick hello to Miranda, and was on his way home that he finally took out his phone and replied. Wyatt, you misunderstood. Chloe, misunderstood? I saw the pictures. Wyatt, no, just let me explain. Chloe, fine. Explain. Wyatt, we bought oranges, not tangerines. Seeing Wyatt's initial willingness to explain had given Chloe a sliver of hope, but his actual reply made her feel even worse. Chloe, who is she? Wyatt, my girlfriend. Chloe, when did you start dating? Wyatt, why is this any of your business? Does this have anything to do with you? Wyatt, let's just delete each other. After sending those last words, Wyatt deleted Chloe from his contacts. Chloe's heart plummeted. She tentatively sent a question mark, but when the message failed to send, tears began to stream down her face, betraying her. Just then, the door to her room burst open. Sis, give me some cash. My friends and I are going to the arcade, a pudgy boy said as he walked in. Chloe looked at him, her voice choked with tears. Get out. Just get out. Sis, what's wrong? Who bullied you? Back at home, Wyatt was sprawled out on the sofa. His dad peeled 2 oranges in the kitchen, then came and sat next to him, feeding him slices one by one. So, son, where'd you go this afternoon? Dad, don't ask questions you're not supposed to ask. What do you mean, not supposed to ask? I'm your father. You're my son. What can we talk about? I went to the movies with a girl. David grinned. Is she pretty? She's a knockout. What does her family do? Her dad's a bank president. Her mom's a VP at a multinational corporation. David slapped Wyatt on the thigh. Stop feeding me that crap. If you were dating a bank president's daughter, you wouldn't have to call me dad anymore. I'd be calling you dad. Wyatt sat up, a look of mock panic on his face. Dad, you shouldn't joke about things like that. Seeing Wyatt's serious expression, David started to get a little flustered. He straightened up. Wait, you're not kidding. I'm not. But, with a family like that, why would she be interested in you? Dad, are you sure I'm your biological son? Fall break day 1. My darling boy, come out and eat. Fall break day 2. Son, time for dinner. Fall break day 3. Get out here and eat. Fall break day 4. Are you dead in there? It's past 10, get out of bed. Fall break day 5. Get out of my sight. I'm so sick of looking at you. When you're not here, I only have to serve your father. When you're back, I have to serve you both. Fall break day 6. What kind of college student leaves their suitcase open on the floor for a week? When are you going back to school? Poor Wyatt. His status at home deteriorated with each passing day. By the 6th day, he was a total nuisance. That afternoon, Riley, who had been on a family trip for a few days, came over to see Wyatt as soon as she got back to Riverwood. Wyatt, Wyatt. Lying on his bed, Wyatt yelled out, "It's open." Riley turned the doorknob and walked into his room. Seeing Wyatt lying shirtless on the bed, the little girl covered her eyes, shy. Wyatt, why aren't you wearing a shirt? Wyatt laughed. It's my room. Why would I wear a shirt? And what are you covering your eyes for? I've seen you running around naked when you were a baby. Hey, Riley stomped her foot, cutting him off. Don't talk about when we were little. Wyatt sat up and pulled the bag of snacks he'd bought with Cece over to Riley. Look at you, getting all shy. Come on, have some snacks, and tell your big brother where you went the last few days. We just went to the mountains in Virginia. Was it fun? Riley shook her head vigorously. No, it was so boring. People everywhere. Did you and Cece not go anywhere? We did. We went to the movies on the 1st, got barbecue and crawfish on the 3rd, and went to the zoo on the 4th. Riley's face was full of envy. I wish I hadn't gone anywhere. Why? Then I could have hung out with you guys. Get lost, Wyatt said bluntly. Why would I want to drag a little tag-along like you around? Riley immediately stood up, her expression wounded. Wyatt, you're so mean. I'm not talking to you anymore. Oomph. She turned to leave, but Wyatt quickly grabbed her arm. All right, don't get all upset. I was just kidding. If you bully me again, I'm going to tell Cece on you. Seeing Riley on the verge of tears, Wyatt pulled her close and started comforting her in a soft voice. Oh, look how sad you are. Come on, let your big brother give you a hug. Wyatt, your aunt is here, and you don't even come out to say hello? You are so. Sarah walked to the bedroom door and opened it, just in time to see her shirtless son trying to pull Riley into a hug. Sarah's temper flared. She grabbed a book from the desk and rushed at Wyatt. You monster. Wyatt, are you even human? Mom, we were just messing around. But Sarah wasn't listening. She raised the book to hit him. At the last second, Riley stepped between them, explaining, Aunt Sarah, it's not what you think. Wyatt was just playing around with me. Wyatt, have you no shame? Sarah scolded. Riley is a young woman now. You can't still treat her like a little kid. But she is a little kid. She's a young adult. To Wyatt, whose mental age was closer to 30, Riley was, indeed, still just a little kid. Riley, come with me, Sarah said. Don't let your cousin be a bad influence on you. I get a headache just looking at him now. That evening, Wyatt first sent a message to Leo, telling him to come over to his house by 9 the next morning. Leo's fall break had been much like Wyatt's. The first few days, he was treated like a king. The last few, he was a nuisance who got yelled at constantly. He wanted to go back to school yesterday. After chatting with Leo, Wyatt was about to text Cece, but then decided a message was too boring. He sent a video call request instead. At that moment, Cece was downstairs watching TV. When her phone rang, she knew it was Wyatt. Besides her 3 college roommates, Wyatt was her only other friend. And only Wyatt would call her this late at night. She slipped on her sandals, grabbed her phone, and walked upstairs. The second she reached the landing, she eagerly answered the call. Why are you calling me? We're leaving at 9 tomorrow. If your mom can't give us a ride, we'll just call a cab. I'll have Rebecca pick you guys up at the gate tomorrow. Okay. Anything else? No. Then I'm hanging up. Don't. Let's talk. It's been so long. We just went to the zoo 2 days ago. A day apart feels like a lifetime. I haven't seen you in almost 2 days. That's like 2 whole lifetimes. Cece turned her face away from the camera, hiding the smile she couldn't suppress. Where'd you go? You're so annoying. Why won't you show your face? I don't want you to see it. Then let me see your legs. I'm hanging up. Wait. Of course, Cece had no intention of hanging up. Wyatt quickly changed the subject. What did you do all day? Nothing. Oh wait, I went swimming with my mom. Swimming? Yeah, in the neighborhood pool. A lot of people were out of town, so this afternoon it was just me and my mom. Why didn't you invite me? You know how to swim? I can learn. Somehow, I don't think you want to learn how to swim. You just want to see me in a swimsuit. Are you that good at reading my mind now? Yes. Then maybe you should just be my girlfriend. Beep, beep, beep. The video call ended abruptly. Cece sat on her chair, her face flushed, her long eyelashes fluttering. She bit her lip, clutching her phone in both hands, her heart pounding so hard it felt like it would burst from her chest. Even her breathing was loud. Wyatt, sitting on his bed, sent a flurry of messages. Wyatt, why'd you hang up? Wyatt, if you don't say yes now, I can just ask again later. Wyatt, well, I'll see you tomorrow morning. Sleep well. Wyatt, good night. Wyatt had no idea that his simple question, then maybe you should just be my girlfriend, would keep Cece up all night. She tried to push the thought away, but it had already taken root in her heart.